From the Wayne County Courthouse in Goldsboro, North Carolina, Wayne Goldsboro Television brings you the meeting of the Wayne County Board of Commissioners. The meeting begins shortly with an agenda briefing, then the regular meeting will begin soon after. Please stand by for the Wayne County Board of Commissioners meeting.
It is 8 o'clock, time to go over the pre-agenda for today's meeting. Mr. Bale, if you got the invocation?
Chaplain Freddie Pierce is going to do it for me.
Okay. Mr. Zardy, you got the pledge?
Okay.
Okay, approval of the minutes for October the 6th meeting. Just adjustments to the agenda. I understand we do have some adjustments.
Yes, sir. I've got 4 proposed adjustments. One is an update and discussion on the Town of Mount Olive Emergency Medical Services Station lease. We would add to, all of these would be added to new business. So that would be number 6. Number 7.
What was that again, sir?
It's an update and discussion on the Town of Mount Olive Emergency Medical Services Station lease. Number 7 would be a motion to rescind a $74,000 North Carolina Eastern Region loan allocation to the Town of Mount Olive as per its request, and reallocation of funds to the Wayne Regional Agricultural and Convention Center Capital Projects Fund and approve budget amendment number 152 to do that. We have a letter, we've received a letter from Charles Brown from the Mount Olive saying they don't want the loan because it's going to, in order to meet the LGC approval, was about a $1,200 fee, and they just felt like that they could do better out on the open market on that loan. So they've basically rescinded it. So my recommendation to you is, if you remember, some of that was taken from the Ag Center. So my recommendation is that you would move that over to the Agricultural Center project. Is that the letter you're giving out, Marty? Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Manager, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
The word rescind, I'm concerned that it not be we're rescinding anything. I heard you say rescind. That word plays somebody more linguistic than me, but I don't want rescind to sound on our part because we're not rescinding it. They are refusing it. But rescind, in my thinking, it gives the impression that we are rescinding something. We're not rescinding it. We're accepting it back, or some other term that's more appropriate to what's happening. Am I off base? The word rescind, we're not rescinding it.
Well, actually we are.
Yeah.
I mean,
all right.
Because you've made an allocation to them, and you've got to rescind that action. I mean, Board, if you can think of a better word, but and I put in there, it's at their request. So it's not anything we're doing punitive with them. They have asked for it.
Right. And we got the letter
from the manager saying they've asked for it.
Okay.
Okay. Number 8, you have a letter, which is the appointment to the Southeastern Wayne Sanitary District Board. This is one we've been waiting on. They have a vacancy, and Mark is handing you out that now. So you have a letter from their attorney, Jack Edwards, recommending the name of Floyd Rudy Peden. Okay.
Okay.
And then the fourth one is a motion to accept the recommendation of the Wayne County Democratic Party Executive Committee and appoint Judy Harrison as the Wayne County Register of Deeds. What I've given you there is a cover memo that explains it. If you recall, when Lois announced her retirement, what the state statute says is that we're to consult with the executive committee of the party that she was affiliated with, and Lois is a Democrat. So we sent the letter, and the next page back is the letter I sent to Ms. Wooten, who's the chairwoman of the Wayne County Democratic Party, notifying her of this. I gave her a copy of the statute, and the statute says they have 30 days from the occurrence of the vacancy, and the vacancy was September 30th, so they had until October 30th to submit a name to you. And the statute said if they submit a name to you, and I've given you the statute, it's on the 4th page. The statute says if they submit a name to you within those 30 days, that you shall appoint the person that they nominate. So what I've done after that is you have the letter from Ms. Wooten, and they are nominating Judy Harrison. Judy is a 30 to 31 year employee of the Register of Deeds office. And then I also asked in my letter, which the statute requires too, is they give you her background. So they've given you her resume and a statement that she had made to them. So that should be everything you need. This should be almost a consent item here, because under the statute, it doesn't say you may appoint her, it says you shall appoint her. So those are the 4 things. Marcia, is there anything else? We had so many coming in there for a while, it was hard to keep up with. So those are the 4 things, Mr. Chairman, we would ask that you add. We do need to have a closed session on 2 items today.
Okay, any other adjustments to the agenda? Okay, we do have some special presentations today. Mr. Wood, if you want to go over those 2, please.
Right. David is here to go over the active flu awareness by the Wayne County Health Department, and I believe we have a few volunteers who are going to get shot.
Gonna get shot?
Yeah.
No, shots.
Get be shot, yeah. When he asked me, I told him, no, I don't want to be shot. So anyway, I think that's a good public relations move, that we'll get that out there, and some other counties have done that.
I was just going to say, if I'd have known they were going to bring the service to me, I would have waited and got that. That would have been a target.
And next, we're going to have a presentation by the North Carolina Port Council, some videos with the family of Wayne Net Coordinator Nanette Sutton. And she will also have, oh yes, thank you, Megan Will Spence, Sherry Sutton, the National Port Council CEO is going to be here, Deborah Johnson, and Smithfield Foods Grower Relations Manager Neil Westerby. So we're going to have a good representation for this presentation. And if you haven't seen them, Nan and her family are featured on a number of their advertisements about hog farmers.
I thought I recognized that face.
Yeah. And her daughter looks just like her when you see her in the pictures. Okay, so we have that. Next, we have the employee service pins, which we do every month.
Then the public hearing, if you want to go ahead.
Right. The public hearing, we gave you a copy of the notice that went in the paper. Marcia got that in. The statute requires, so we've got the public hearing on page 34. On page 35 of your packet is the statute, 153A, 155. This is uniform provisions for room occupancy taxes. We highlighted B and C for you. The levy of room occupancy tax may be levied only by resolution after not less than 10 days public notice and after a public hearing held pursuant thereto. And so, as you can see, the statute requires the public hearing. This is the required public hearing at 9:15. Once you hold this public hearing, then you're in a position to do all of the steps that are necessary under the new legislation.
Is that it on the public hearing?
Yes, sir.
Let's move back up to the flu shots. Is there anything that we need to know about? I mean, as far as procedures and what you want, what you expect?
Come up there.
Yeah.
Just so that, so when we get ready to do it kind of like the Army, just run them right through.
That's right.
Yeah, I think, Marcia is going to help to coordinate the process, but I mean, I don't know if y'all want to stand up in the front here and then, get your sleeve exposed, your arm exposed, so that the nurses can, we'll have 2 nurses here, and I think we have 6 people.
Pam Holt is sick today, so she will not be.
Okay, so we'll have 5 people, so what we may do is just have one nurse try to administer 2, and maybe another nurse administer 3, and just kind of do it on the side, and that way they get exposure
And
to.
you want to be talking while we're getting that done.
You want me to talk while we're getting that done?
And tell about where people can come to get
Yeah,
their
that's right.
shots and
Yeah.
that kind of
Okay, all right. Okay, well, I was going to talk a little bit right before we started. I don't have a real long presentation. I'm going to keep it very brief, just really more of a public service announcement about the flu. And the only reason why I said that is because you're going to have the cameras on them, right, when we're doing the, I think we'll have the cameras on them doing the flu. That's what I'd like.
It should take a long time on us either.
Yeah, I don't want to take it very long. I mean, these nurses get through in probably less than 5 minutes.
I think he could be giving the public service announcement while we're getting the shot.
Okay. I'll do whatever you want to do.
That way it'll drown out the squeals.
The reason why I said that, I
that
did that's the Board of Education. I did a talk while they were doing the rounds to the teen public health essay winners, shaking hands with the board members, and nobody heard or paid attention to a word I said. So I had to back up and say the whole thing over again. I just didn't want to repeat that.
Okay.
But whatever you feel comfortable with, I'm okay.
Okay, we'll work it out.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr.
I'm going
Desmond.
to bypass that until after I go to the doctor today at 1 o'clock.
So then we'll be 4.
Only we're down to 4. We got to go out in the hallway and get some volunteers.
Yeah, I got to go and
Okay.
There's 5
Still fine?
Cindy,
Okay, all right, okay.
just do that.
Appointment committee, Mr. Gurley, we have anything?
We have 2 committee appointments.
Okay.
I hate to take that shot.
Unfinished business, Mr. Wood, if you would, start on them.
Okay. If you go to page 55 in your packet, this starts the process on levying the 1% room occupancy tax. I've given you a fairly detailed memo on that, but there's essentially 4 steps we need to do. The first one is to amend the agreement between the County of Wayne and the City of Goldsboro regarding this, because it references proposed legislation to increase Goldsboro's room occupancy tax from 5% to 6%. You remember that was the original agreement. So we're having to amend that to leave Goldsboro's tax as it is at 5% and seek legislation to allow Wayne County to levy a new 1% countywide room occupancy tax. So the enclosed resolution adopting the amendment to the agreement is the first of the attachments. The city attorney and city manager have reviewed it, and Scott Stevens called me this morning and told me that it passed the city last night without any changes or anything like that. So if you vote on it today, it would be effective today, because it's effective immediately when you approve and execute it, and also the county attorney has approved it as well. Everybody's in agreement with the language before you. The second thing is, and we just discussed that, is the statute requires that you hold a public hearing on whether to levy the room occupancy tax. Of course, that's been advertised. You'll hold that at 9:15, and then we'll start this process. Once you've done the public hearing, you can adopt the resolution to levy the 1% countywide room occupancy tax. So that's number 3 here. Excuse me.
Okay.
That's number 3, is adopting the room tax. And number 2 is the budget amendment, okay? And then the final step is to create the Wayne County Tourism Development Authority. And we have met with city officials on that. This was in an effort to make the composition of the members on their Goldsboro Travel and Tourism Council match with our new authority. We think we've come up with a way to do that. We have the resolution enclosed creating the new Wayne County Tourism Development Authority as the legislation requires. Much of the language is the exact language from the recent legislation. What we've done is our appointments would mirror the existing 9 members they have on their tourism council, and we took the same ending and beginning dates and terms for those, so we matched it up as much as we can. There's about 3 slots then we need to discuss, and then there's a few of them will have to be made after the 2 boards meet and discuss it some, and then come up with a recommendation back to the city and the county on that. And we'll go through that in detail when we get to that point. But what we would end up with then is the city will go back and amend its board from 9 members to 12, because this just would not work with what their requirements are in terms of how many hotel people and how many people are involved in tourism, and then our numbers that are required in our legislation. So we ended up moving it up from 9 to 12 members. But then essentially we'll have, like the hospital has, where they have 2 separate boards, but they're the same composition. And that's what we're shooting for there. And if you do those, then at that point, we think we'll be in position to have done everything, and then the only thing remaining is to fill those other slots on the board. Now, this resolution would appoint everyone to our new Tourism Development Authority with a few exceptions. We'll need a 4th hotel operator, because with 9 members, they only have 3. But ours requires that 1/3 be hotel operators who levy the tax. So of the 12, we need 1/3 would be 4. And so there's one where we need to come together and decide who the 4th hotel operator will be. So we've left that blank in this one right now. The commission would have 1 additional appointment of a person, and in addition, that would be in addition to Commissioner Pate. And we have written this as if Commissioner Pate would be appointed, and the reason for that is the chairman and I felt like he had been on the WRACC, and he's been attending their meetings, I guess, for the better part of a year.
Longer than that.
Longer than that. So we're recommending that you appoint him. Then the last appointment you need to decide on is whether to have a 2nd commissioner appointed or the county manager. The city has appointed the mayor, and the city manager is how they've done it. However you want to do it, that's your call, and that's what I put in the memo for you. And then the statute also says that we're to appoint a chairman. This is one other difference on our 2 boards, is that the city's board elects its own chairman, but our legislation says the chairman is appointed by the Board of Commissioners. So what I'm hoping is that the city can change how their chairman is selected so that we can mirror that appointment as well. And if not, then hopefully we can agree on the same person as chairman despite the differences on how we select them. And that way we'd have the same chairman of both boards, and everything would function. It'd be 2 separate boards, but it would be mirrored pretty much identically. And that was the intent all along of what we were trying to do. So those are the items that take care of everything dealing with the 1% room occupancy tax. Does anybody have any questions on any of that?
Good. Anyone?
Mr. Chairman, I do. On number 9 here, where there's an additional commissioner or county manager,
Mm-hmm.
is that locked in stone?
No. No, we were just mirroring what the city had done. They had appointed their mayor and their city manager. So we were just mirroring what they did. But again, it's up to you what you want to do on that.
In order to stay close and mirror as closely as possible, for number 9, could we just say county manager or his designee? And then in number 7, the commissioner appointee has some language there, someone with agriculture interest maybe?
Yeah.
And just word it up, change it those ways?
Yeah. All of that would work.
That'd be appropriate?
Mhm.
Okay.
I agree.
I'll try to scribe something out.
Well, and I think we're addressing it, but I just feel like we need somebody from the agricultural community on here.
I think that's a great idea.
I do too.
Okay.
We just didn't think about it because I was just
Trying to mirror.
caught up in trying to mirror it.
But actually, you're saying we could use number 7, is that the point?
Is that appointee?
Yes, yeah, because that's blank, and we left it blank because we were trying to decide what to do, so it would fit right there, and then if you want to do the other, you can certainly
But
do
number
that.
9, that way, the county manager or designee will be a closer fit to the cities.
That's right, and if I'm not there, then Tommy can go in my
Sure,
stead.
okay, that sounds good.
Okay.
And if
Well,
necessary,
before-
the finance director could, because remember, the finance director is ex officio, non-voting. But if she were my designee, then for that meeting, she'd have a vote.
Okay.
Before we leave the appointing, I see that we need a 4th hotel operator.
Yeah,
Would that be appropriate to bring in the sleep-in as part of this whole scenario?
Well,
My opinion is no, because that's already spelled out further down in the agreement.
it's actually got to be somebody in Goldsboro, because these people are operators in Goldsboro. If you're going to mirror them, it's got to be somebody in Goldsboro. The
When you say
other
mirror
issue
them, what do you
is-
mean?
Pardon me?
When you say
Well-
mirror them, what do you mean?
The membership.
Well, Mr. Chairman.
Am I losing something in the transfer here? I
Well-
thought we were getting ready to levy a 1% sales tax for the whole county.
We are.
Here's been the problem. Mount Olive wanted 70% of the levy to go directly for them for their control.
That's right.
So in other words, they're already represented by getting that 70%.
Yeah,
So-
because the town council decides.
So really,
how to
that's
spend it.
correct. So really, if you brought in the sleep-in, they would be determining how to spend the remaining of that's generated in Goldsboro.
You mean, they may have an input in that other 30%. They would have an interest in that other 30%, and not to control it, but to be absolutely in all of the discussion, and I think you would do yourself good by making sure that.
But they can't receive
wait,
any
let
of
me
those
finish this
funds.
minute.
They can't, Ed, under the agreement, they can't receive any of those funds, so I'm not sure why we would have them making decisions on how to spend it. And I think Goldsboro would object to that.
Well, in discussions that led up to this, it was always that this was a countywide effort, and Mount Olive in the South had been included before, and so
But Mount
I
Olive
just thought
said
see
they
that
didn't
as-
want to be included.
Sir?
They said- But Mount Olive didn't want to be included. They specifically said they wanted their money and they would handle it down there, and that's what we've done.
We granted exactly what they wanted.
well.
You can't have it both- you can't have it both
No, wait a
ways.
minute, I don't know whether we see it the same or not. They're keeping, the way that I saw it, 70% was gonna be exclusive to Mount Olive, and there's another 30% involved. Is that not true?
Of what the sleep-in generated.
Right, okay, hold it right there.
Okay.
So then there is resources from the sleep-in that comes, that's out there to be
Well,
used
no.
other than that 70%.
No, that 30% we left in there when the negotiation would take place, that was to cover overhead and things.
And so it would not be appropriate for them to have some say-so in what this overhead was?
Well, the overhead is our cost and things to administer the tax. And there is no extra money for marketing. And furthermore, the agreement says, I'll be happy to get a copy of the agreement between now and 9. The agreement of Mount Olive says the rest of the money that they're not entitled to any. And the rationale for that is they said that any money generated inside the town of Mount Olive should go to them, minus this small amount for overhead.
30%.
Okay. So, and their whole theory was what's generated in Mount Olive should go to Mount Olive. Well, then Goldsboro has a right to say, well, the rest of it is generated in Goldsboro because we don't have any motels outside city limits at this time. And so the agreement specifically says that the 5% cannot, none of that can go to do anything in Mount Olive because they've already gotten their money. They just chose to do a separate marketing.
All right, my thought still goes back to the other 30%.
Well, when I remember, they're one of 11 motels. So what I'm hearing you say is that someone who has 30% of 1/11 of where the money comes from should have a seat at the table, but not the hotels in Goldsboro.
But I thought you said there were 3 hotels. You said a 4th hotel. We would need a 4th hotel operator. That sounds to me like there's 3 hotel operators already in place.
There are because
from Goldsboro.
Because it's
from Goldsboro.
tax. Because the tax is exclusively on Goldsboro hotels.
But when you put the whole piece of pie together,
you're adding one hotel, and they said we want our money separate. So we did that.
To do that, you would have had to give them the whole 100%. If you look at it, it's so exclusive.
They agreed to it being exclusive. It's in the agreement.
And they agreed on the 70-30 split. I mean,
I think, Mr. Camardi, the 30% is supposed to go towards the overhead of the administration and the building facilities and things. That's what the 70-30 split was. And the 70% would be for them to market Mount Olive in the way they see fit best. So that was the 70-30 split discussion.
But all I'm saying is that in decisions that are countywide, tourism decisions is countywide. If we believe the language.
Can I interrupt you a minute?
Yes,
These
sir.
decisions will not be for countywide marketing. Mount Olive specifically said we want our money separately and we'll do our own marketing. So it's not for decisions on countywide marketing.
One final question. So there are going to be 2 boards.
Right.
One of them is the old Goldsboro board, and the other one is this countywide board.
Right.
That's the word right there. I'll stop. Countywide.
okay,
Thank you.
let's move on.
Well, okay. So that's the appointees. So Joe, you're going to work up the language you want to do on that?
That'll be at the part of adoption of the resolution creating the tourism board. Okay.
Okay, the next item we have is item number 5, and that's a motion to approve departmental work schedules for animal services and information technology. I've given you a fairly detailed memo on this. Basically, we have 5-day coverage on both of those, and I don't know, Mr. Chairman, if you want me to read through that now or just wait till the 9 o'clock. I think this is pretty straightforward.
We need to move on.
Okay, anybody got any questions on it? Okay. Okay, next is proposed amendments to the Wayne County zoning map, and we have Chip Crumpler here to answer any questions you may have on that. In the interest of time, I'm just going to, I don't know that we need to go through it now in detail unless you want to.
We need to go through it twice.
Okay. All right, and Chip will be here for that again at 9. On the consent agenda, you have several elderly and disabled ones. I think the main one we want to talk about is on page 96. we're recommending approval on everything except this. And this is the same thing that came up last year. Rex Hospital has bought out doctor's offices, and then they come in and want the property tax exclusion, but they were late in filing it. We have a philosophical problem with the fact that these hospitals, nonprofit hospitals, go out and buy for-profit medical practices, and then the next thing you know, they want to be nonprofit, which really, we have some real issues with the fairness on that, so we're not recommending that you approve that.
Well, and the key though is they filed late.
They filed late, so it's not mandatory that you approve it.
If they had filed on time, it wouldn't be before us.
Right.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Doherty.
has there been any court cases on this where a nonprofit buys a for-profit organization and all of a sudden that for-profit organization is now nonprofit? Has there been any court case on that?
Not that I'm aware of.
Because it's clear these private practices are they're for-profit. They are not non-profit organizations. They are coming under the umbrella of a non-profit.
This group is before you, on this particular thing, used to be a white man and moved up to Rex. And then they moved down here.
Must be more money down here.
Well,
Thank you, Mr.
Some of us
Chair.
have been there and feel like if we help buy some of these things, they don't want to.
Complicated. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
The next thing on the consent agenda is, these are the smaller budget amendments, and I'll be happy to go over those at the 9 o'clock with you. I think all of these are pretty straightforward.
Okay.
If they weren't, we'd have them separated out under non-consent.
Okay.
Under new business, we have Dave Harris here, who's going to talk with you about the Catalyst Grant Scattered Site Housing Project and our CDBG plans update for the new 3-year period. That's fairly involved, so I would suggest that we just wait till the 9 o'clock meeting on that.
Okay.
Then we're going to have a presentation by Major Tom Effler of the Wayne County Sheriff's Office regarding their high-speed pursuit policy. I believe Mr. Cromartie had asked about that, and so I asked the sheriff to have someone come and give y'all a presentation on that, and Major Effler's going to do that. Then we have a motion to cancel the Envirocon contract. On page 143, you have a memo from Sam to that effect. This has been to the Facilities Committee, and they're recommending that we cancel this contract. We believe we can do better with that, and so we're asking you to authorize us to cancel that. Then this has also gone through the Facilities Committee. We'd like a motion to approve the facility director to move forward with cost estimates to uplift the Pinewood Station to accommodate WayneNet, and approve the county manager to move forward with the relocation, and should it prove feasible after all due diligence is completed. If y'all recall, when we talked about auctioning that equipment, it was the idea that we were going to move WayneNet into this building. WayneNet is in a pretty crowded facility over on Madison Avenue, in addition to one of our EMS stations. And now that we've taken over the Pinewood Station, our plan is to move the WayneNet headquarters over there. So this would, basically what we're saying is for Kendall to go out and get cost estimates on uplifting it, and then we'll move forward with that.
And just for information, the Pinewood Station is also an EMS station now.
Right.
So it's not like we're just moving moving into a building that hadn't been occupied by the county in the past.
Right.
Okay.
And just an update, I was going to do this under my manager's comments, but I'll go ahead and do that now because it deals with that station, because we can't really move into that station until we get this done. Y'all authorized us to go after those, selling those trucks, and we have done that. We put them out on Gov Deals. We put reserves on them, and what that means when you do a reserve on these Gov Deal auctions is If it doesn't reach that number, you're not obligated to sell the equipment. Subsequent to those gov deals things, before we made a decision on what to do, we had calls from people who upped what they would pay over and above what the gov deals bids came in at. So as it sits right now, the best bid we have on the 1987 FMC fire truck is $6,500. And Wayne and I have looked at that, and our recommendation to you is that we accept that. Because that is the highest bid we've gotten on it. The better truck is, Tommy, I'm not sure, this doesn't say which truck it is. 2001. We have the Shine Fire and EMS Department. For those of you who don't know it, that's right over the border in Greene County. And they're willing to offer $75,000. And we had a reserve on that of $85,000. The other, we had a reserve of $15,000. So we've had them on gov deals. That goes nationwide. So, I mean, I think we've done as well as we're going to do. And our recommendation is that we accept the $75,000 as well. So,
Okay.
with that,
So you're going to add that to the agenda
well,
to make that recommendation?
yes, we probably should, Joe. I was going to do it. I had it under my comments, but I think it would be good to have a motion on both of those.
Yeah.
Oh, the bid on the first one was, Tyrone Volunteer Fire Department Board of Directors. Noel's been dealing with them, so I'm not sure where Tyrone is. You what? Minnesota? That's why I hadn't heard of him. Okay.
That'll be number 10. That'll be number 10.
Number 10, yeah. Okay. All right. And the last thing we have is a motion to adopt the National Apprenticeship Week proclamation. I think Tiffany Creech had asked us to put that on, and Ray had asked us to put that on as well.
Will you read that, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, I will.
Okay. And I believe that's everything on the agenda. Oh, with those 4 we've added, but we've already gone over them.
5 now.
Yeah, 5, but we've already gone over
We've
them.
gone over them. Anyone else have anything on new business? Or unfinished business? No, I'm getting behind. That was the consent agenda, now new business.
Yep, we got through.
We're good?
Yes, sir.
All right, we need to go in closed session right quick. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
All in favor, aye?
Consult an attorney to have the attorney-client privilege to establish a position on purchasing property to discuss the location and expansion of industries.
It's a little after 9 o'clock, time to conduct the business of the Wayne County Board of Commissioners. I would ask if anyone has cell phones or pagers or any electronic devices, please put them on vibrate or cut them off for courtesy of the other people in the audience. Mr. Bell, you got any implication?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, but I have a visitor this morning, the twin brother of our sheriff, County Sheriff Larry Pierce, Reverend Freddie Pierce, is going to do the invocation for us.
Larry forgets to wear his hairpiece, that's the problem. Gentlemen, good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to come and share an invocation with you this morning on behalf of the Sheriff's Department. I was at our North Carolina Sheriff Chaplains Association meeting just a week ago, and we're finding it harder to be able to have prayer in meetings, so we thank you for giving us this opportunity. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for this time we have to share together. As the psalmist has told us in chapter 118:24, this is the day you have made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Father, as you can see, there's a lot of business to be handled through the county today. I pray, Lord, for calm minds and calm hearts. And I just pray, Lord, that you'll take this meeting and take it to the places that it should be. I pray for each county commissioner that's here and the remarks that will be made today, Father. And I pray everything will be done according to your will. And it's in Christ's name we pray, and we thank you again. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Brother Pierce.
Let's all stand, face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the October 6th meeting?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion on the floor. Any discussion? If none, all in favor show sign of right hand. Motion carries. I did miss one thing this morning, and I'm going to get scolded for this, I know. Happy birthday, Miss Marshall.
We won't sing.
No, we won't sing. Any adjustments to the agenda, Mr. Wood?
Mr. Chairman, we've got four. The first would be a motion to rescind a $74,000 North Carolina Eastern Region loan allocation to the town of Mount Olive at its request, and reallocation of those funds to the Wayne Regional Agricultural and Convention Center Capital Projects Fund, and approve the budget amendment number 152 to do that. And all of these would be under new business. The second one is you have a request from the Southeastern Wayne Sanitary District Board to make an appointment to that board. You have the letter from their attorney requesting that. Number 9 on there, excuse me, number 8. This would be 6, 7, and 8. So number 8 would be a motion to accept the recommendation of the Wayne County Democratic Party Executive Committee and appoint Judy Harrison as the Wayne County Register of Deeds. And then number 9 would be to accept 2 bids on 2 fire trucks, which we've taken in.
Anyone else have any adjustments to the agenda? Okay, special presentations, I'm gonna take care of the first one, Mr. Wood, and
Yes, sir. We have David Madden here, Health Department. I'm going to turn it over to David.
ready to go ahead.
Thank you, and good morning, Chairman Aycock and Commissioners. Yes, right, get undressed. Can I get, Marshall, will you cue the music? We're going to do a little public awareness today on flu vaccinations. We have a couple of victims. I'm volunteers.
Let's, the ones that did not go down, we've already had our shots.
Yeah, I was going to safeguard you, Mr. Aycock, and tell them that the other ones have already had theirs. But we do have some people, and I'm going to talk a little bit why they're prepping. We have 2 wonderful nurses over here. We have Phyllis Beers and Ann Brogdon with the Public Health Department. They're some of our super staff, and they're getting ready to administer the flu vaccine to our volunteers over here, the ones that have not had it this year. As everybody knows, the flu is a serious disease that we encounter each year that is preventable. And the sad thing is that since it's a preventable condition, illness, you have anywhere from 3,000 to 50,000 people die each year due to flu or flu complications. So one thing that I encourage, as you see from our volunteers here, is that see what I'm talking about?
I'm listening.
You see my point? Nobody's listening to the man. Ignore the man behind the curtain. But one thing I want to say, that if you yourself fall in one of the categories I'm about to explain, or if you have frequent exposure to children under the age of 2, especially 6 months and younger infants, The elderly, which is 65 and older typically, and pregnant women or anyone that has pre-existing medical complications or medical conditions that affect their immune system, it's really important that you get a flu vaccine because it helps minimize the transmission of the flu virus. And you know, it's paramount that we help create the population immunity to transmit the flu virus. I like to talk a little bit about the risk. Yes, we have people that are advocates against getting flu vaccines, but I just want to point out that statistically we've given millions of flu vaccines over the course of decades in America. There's a 1 in 1 million chance typically of any adverse effects every time you step out in the car, an automobile, or walk out in a thunderstorm. You have a better chance of being injured by automobile accident than you do having an adverse effect from flu vaccine. The lives that they save easily outweigh the small risk. In anything where you put something in your body, there's always going to be a risk, but the bottom line is this is shown to save countless lives through vaccinations. This is irrefutable facts. When you look at the overall people that have not been ill, like I said, we're losing 50,000 people a year to a disease that you can prevent is silly. I wanted to say that you can get, of course, get your flu vaccine at any of your primary providers, health departments, or any other primary care operations, drugstores. I think even grocery stores now are giving out flu shots. One thing here at the health department, we don't have our high dose anymore. Board Parker reminded me of that we are out of our high dose. We've already given it out, and I think we have more in the order. But keep in mind that it's paramount you get your flu vaccine as early as you try to get it by October, because it takes 2 weeks for your body to develop the proper antibodies for a flu virus. So you want to try to get it early in the season. Flu will extend over into as late as April, sometimes May. So getting it, the peak of flu season usually hits around January. So trying to get it early as possible is paramount for your safety and the safety of those people you put at risk. I don't see anybody crying. No, and I asked them if they'd stand up and do it, but we did have a place for them to sit down if they needed to. But so far, I don't see any. I don't see. So looks like we're having a good episode right here. We got the square needle out for Mr. Daughtery. That's the one.
If you're gonna mess up, now's the time.
Well, since this is televised, like we're talking about, you always got to have a little bit of something entertaining or some level of note. So here's be the moment. Okay, we'll have him nervous in a minute. He'll be backing out.
There's a lot of people have been wanting to shoot me.
Mr. Bell.
We could have the literacy lady to come down here and
Bad job. That was cold, John.
That was,
And while we're talking about it, I just want to bring up one thing, a little jump off the track a little bit for flu vaccine and flu vaccine awareness and the importance of them. Is I just also want to tip my hat to the commissioners for last meeting's proclamation on breast cancer awareness month. You know that October is a month for that. I appreciate those wearing pink. I know, Mr. Aycock, that you have a personal connection with that, but just wanted to recognize that, Commissioner Gurley, and note that because this is a good month to recognize we lose a lot of women and men to the side effect of breast cancer.
I also recall you sent a flu shot reminder recommendation through the Code Red system. Do you get any feedback from that?
Well, yes. While we're giving these last two, I'll tell you that it was 2 weekends ago we set up an exercise for a mass vaccination clinic. Got a second to talk about that? Yes. But a mass vaccination clinic, and what we did there was a 5-year cycle where we have to exercise a real exercise to see if we can dispense vaccines through one of our point of dispensing sites, which was Marmac Fire Department. In the case we were to have a biological or preparedness emergency threat where we would have to quickly inoculate the citizens of Wayne County against something, we set up and planned to administer 300 vaccines that we had said we were the only county in the state so far that has done a live exercise where we actually vaccinated people. Everyone else has used the mock exercise. We did a live one. We vaccinated 162 people in probably less really than about 2.5, 3 hours, and that's slow. Because really we could do triple that, honestly. But it was our first time practicing. We used to get to your point. We used the Code Red system to help drum up some business, because it was, because of the rain and everything, we were having some slow turnout initially. We used a 10-mile radius allocation through Code Red, made 24,000 phone calls, and in a matter of minutes, we had.
You were last. You got my shot.
The thing was, she was just rolling his sleeve up. Man up way. But, to get back to your point, we did a 10-mile radius on that. We did 24,000 contacts in a matter of minutes, and so we saw a high volume all of a sudden pick up people coming through the Marmac Fire Department, and thank the Marmac Fire Department for their allowing us to use that station as a pod, point of dispensing. And by doing that, we saw a surge all of a sudden. People were coming through saying, hey, I got the Code Red. The flu shots were being given up here today, and I've come through. And we just had them driving through bays, and these same nurses here were vaccinating and moving right on, And of course, they had never been vaccinated. Jeremy Hill with EMS was over there on standby just in case we had anybody that had a reaction, and we did a 15-minute holding pattern for them. But it was a really good exercise. I want to thank all of our volunteers. Hospital, volunteer nurses, school nurses volunteered. Red Cross was out there, American Red Cross, and of course the Health Department and EMS and the Marmac Fire Department. But it was really exceptional, and we did this as a precursor to the flu campaign awareness.
Okay.
Real quick, if you don't mind, I've mentioned my nurses again over here, Phyllis Beers and Ann Brogdon. I just want to thank them and give them a hand. See smiling faces. So thank you very much, and get your flu shot.
I have.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank y'all.
Mr. Chairman, if I could suggest, we've got standing room only here, if we could maybe take the service pin presentation first.
Okay.
And then have our employees leave.
Okay.
Okay.
That won't take but a minute. Let's go down front.
And if the employees are here, we would like to have them come up front to receive their pins and to shake the commissioner's hand. 1 year, Peter Belmonte with the Day Reporting Center. Dave Fields, the Wayne Executive Jetport. Jeremy Hill, Emergency Medical Services. Sarah Phillips, Social Services. Jody Williamson, the Detention Center. Michael Albertson, Emergency Services. Deborah Bird, Social Services. Cassandra Chapman, Detention Center. Kimberly McKibben, Social Services. Jeremy Rouse, Wayne Net. Logan Thorne, Social Services. Maurice Truitt, Detention Center. Amy Vineyard, Social Services. April Jones, Wayne Net. Five years, Crystal Hines, Facility Services. Stella McCullen, Social Services. Mary White, Facility Services. "10 years, Lenny Smith Jr., Detention Center. Ken Stern, Health Department. Noel Woods, Finance Office. Killia Rivera, Social Services. "15 years, Maritza Ball, Health Department. Amy Bowen, Information Technology. Carolyn Whitaker, Social Services. Linda Barnes, Social Services. "20 years, Brian Dawson, the Sheriff's Office. Rhonda Floyd, Social Services. Robert Golomoski, Sheriff's Office. "25 years, Rose Wagner, Health Department. Kim Wells, Human Resources. And I will gladly accept my 25 years.
Praise the Lord.
Is that all, folks?
That's it. Thank you.
Movie star. Movie star at the time. I think I saw her.
Steve, he didn't make mayor.
You ready, Mr. Wood?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're in for a real treat now. Mr. Wood, if you would take care of item number 2 on our
All right.
special presentation.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to turn this over to Assistant County Manager Tommy Burns for some introductions. Tommy?
Thank you, Commissioners. It's my pleasure to introduce some special guests today and one of our very own. If you're in the farming business, periodically you get mailers that want to depict different marketing campaigns that the state does. And in the last few weeks, I've received 2 of them, and I was going to see if I could get an autograph on them. But we're excited to have Nanette and Mike Sutton. If y'all would stand up. Megan and Will Spence are also here. Sherry Sutton and Margaret Sutton from the National Pork Council. Deborah Johnson. Neil Westerby. And Kevin Johnson is our extension agent, but I think he had to leave. If the commissioners would come down, we'd like to get a picture of all of y'all. Let me tell you what these folks are here representing. Mike and Nanette, their family represents the North Carolina Pork Council in their marketing campaign this year, and we're very fortunate that they are Wayne County folks, and Nanette is an employee of Wayne County. She looks after our Wayne Net division over there in EMS. And following the picture, we've got some promotional videos we'd like to show y'all to sort of show off our folks a little bit and thank them for all they've done to put the spotlight on Wayne County. If y'all would, come on up, everybody.
The commissioners want to shake their hands.
Yes.
We're gonna have to do a little together. Okay, well, let y'all come sit down. We're gonna show that video now. I'm probably gonna show it more than once because it's kind of fast.
And while we're getting that set up, I want to read a few facts to you about North Carolina hog farming. More than 80% of hog farms are locally owned and operated by North Carolina families, and they care about the communities where they live. After all, over 46,000 North Carolinians depend on the pork industry to help make their living. They make sure that hog farms are clean, safe, and environmentally responsible. And I think that this family behind us is a great representation of our county, and we're very proud of them and proud of what they stand for in the pork industry and the Pork Council and all the responsible farming that they are trying to advocate and teach our next generations. So thank y'all and enjoy the short video.
Our farm is a family business. Most hog farms are family farms. I've been around the farm all my life. When I graduated from college, I just decided this was what I wanted to do.
She has come into the family business. She'd rather be down here than anywhere else.
We take care of our land. Our land's what makes our living. Our hogs are well taken care of.
It works. We make it work.
She loves what she does, and she gives it 150%.
I'm Megan Spence, and I'm a North Carolina hog farmer. Our farm is a family business. Most hog farms are family farms. I've been around the farm all my life. When I graduated from college, I just decided this was what I wanted to do.
She has come into the family business. She'd rather be down here than anywhere else.
We take care of our land. Our land's what makes our living. Our hogs are well taken care of.
It works. We make it work.
She loves what she does, and she gives it 150%.
I'm Megan Spence, and I'm a North Carolina hog farmer.
Coffee is barely ready and the pigs need to be fed. Our farm is a family business. That's true for most every hog farm in our state.
We're proud North Carolina hog farmers.
We go the extra mile to protect the environment.
We take very good care of our animals.
Each year, state officials inspect this farm. We're modern hog farmers.
And we're also good neighbors. We're responsible and we care. Time for another check on the animals.
Another honest day's work.
coffee is barely ready and the pigs need to be fed. Our farm is a family business. That's true for most every hog farm in our state.
We're proud North Carolina hog farmers.
We go the extra mile to protect the environment.
We take very good care of our animals.
Each year, state officials inspect this farm. We're modern hog farmers.
And we're also good neighbors.
We're responsible and we care.
Time for another check on the animals.
Another honest day's work.
I was not prepared to speak. First of all, to thank y'all for giving us this chance to come and stand for what we do believe in. It's a job, but it's something that I'm proud of my husband, my daughter, my family. There's somebody that I do want to thank that is no longer with us. He passed away in 2006, and that is my father-in-law, Donald Sutton, because if it hadn't have been for him, we could never build the hog houses or the turkey houses or have what we've got today. And I just thank Mike and his brother Gary for continuing on, and Megan for going on with the family tradition. And I'm just as proud as I can be when I see these commercials. I just grin from ear to ear because I'm just tickled to death over my family. And I thank y'all for giving me a chance to come today and say thank you.
One thing, Mr. Chairman, that's Nanette or Megan, and you're exactly right, Mr. Donald Sutton's a pillar of our community, and he was good in many, many ways, and is legendary with that corner of Rodale Barrel Road and Highway 13 with that fertilizer store, and sit for so many years. But also Megan's love for this farming and agriculture business. That child went to ECU and was a graduate of occupational therapy, is that correct? Recreational therapy, I'm sorry. So you can tell her love for farming and the agriculture community, her love of Wayne County.
That's right.
Thank you. I watched that girl grow up.
She did. Thank you.
Thank y'all so much for coming today. Wayne County is proud of y'all. We're proud of all of our farmers, but y'all have gone the extra mile to promote the pork industry. I used to be a hog farmer years ago. I miss it sometimes, and then again I don't, because it's 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. You got to be dedicated to raise any kind of livestock or poultry. But again, thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for what you do, and Wayne County's proud of you.
Mr. Chairman.
One more thing. I want to thank Deborah Johnson with the Pork Council and Neil Westerby with Smithfield Foods, because if it had not been for them, we wouldn't have done this either. And I thank them for standing behind us too.
Yeah. Thank you. Mr. Morgan.
On behalf of folk that are not farming and for the folk who don't get a chance to go out on a farm, just let me thank you all for the families that you feed who never see what you're doing. And that is real important in today's world. You and other folk like you are feeding so much of the world that never know on a daily basis what you're doing. Thank you.
You said the key word just a minute ago, and I really love seeing these kind of videos because this promotes our agricultural community. Forget this protection stuff, we need to promote it. This is our #1 industry in Wayne County and in this state. And I got to get this plug in. We're going to have a agricultural convention center that the Pork Council can meet in, so just let us know. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Pack. Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Mann.
I'd like to thank the Sutton family. I was talking to Megan when she came to the line. I asked her a question. I said, which is harder work, hog farming or tobacco farming? And she said, I think tobacco farming is. We don't do that. So thank you for what you do.
Again, thank y'all for being here today. Okay, we're not 30 minutes late on our public hearing. Mr. Wood, if you would take care of the public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, this public hearing is a requirement of the state statute. If you want to levy the 1% room occupancy tax, which the recent state statute allows you to do, the legislation that we asked for and received. Just to read the statute to you, 153A-155B says levy. A room occupancy tax may be levied only by resolution after not less than 10 days public notice and after a public hearing held pursuant thereto. A room occupancy tax shall become effective on the date specified in the resolution levying the tax. That date must be the first day of a calendar month, however, and may not be earlier than the first day of the second month after the date the resolution is adopted. We have in your packet the resolution. The effective date in that resolution would be December the 1st. So that's essentially what you'd be doing. It'd be a 1% countywide room occupancy tax. And at this point, Mr. Chairman, I would recommend that you open the public hearing, and then we'll receive comments on that.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Wood. The public hearing is now open for levying the 1% room occupancy tax on all lodging establishments in Wayne County, North Carolina. The public hearing is now open. If anyone has any comments, please come forward now and make your comments.
Bob Jackson, 109 Aurora Lane, Goldsboro. I don't want this to get out, but I'm in favor of this tax increase. This is probably the first time that's ever happened, but I believe for the benefit of the whole, it is the thing to do. And I congratulate you gentlemen on the board for making that decision and to make it happen. There will be some good things happen because of this, Ag Center and the ball fields and so forth that can come about in as much as this has been approved. Appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Could you repeat your name again?
Don't want it to get out.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson, for those comments. Anyone else have any comments for the public hearing? If no other comments, the public hearing is now closed. That good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Gurley, Appointment Committee.
We have two. We met this morning, and we'd like to recommend the appointment of James Jimmy C. Brown to the Wayne County Animal Control Advisory Committee, and I'd like to put this in the form of a motion.
Have a motion on the floor. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor of Mr. Gurley's recommendation? Motion carries unanimous.
And our second one is, we'd like to recommend the appointment of Dustin Pittman, Jeannie Lyon, Emmanuel Adeloy to the Wayne County Juvenile Crime Prevention Council. And I'd like to put this in the form of a motion.
Have a motion on the floor. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor, should sign of right hand. Motion carries.
That completes us.
Thank you, Mr. Gurley. Unfinished business, Mr. Wood.
Mr. Chairman, the next four items have to do with the levying of the 1% tax. The first is a motion to adopt a resolution amending the agreement between the County of Wayne and the City of Goldsboro regarding the Wayne Agricultural and Convention Center, a multi-sports complex, and the Goldsboro Country Club. This amendment is necessary because, as we talked about before, when we first entered into this agreement back in March, the intent was we were going to go after a 6% on the Goldsboro tax, which, as y'all know, is 5% right now. The legislature has policies that would require that we had to change theirs and would not have allowed the split like we wanted it. So As y'all know, we backed up and said we'll leave the Goldsboro statute as it exists now, and then go with the 1% countywide hotel or room occupancy tax. So that's what we've done. We received that legislation approval in late September, and that's why you have before you today the amendment to the agreement. We'll report that the city manager called me this morning, and they adopted the agreement last night at their meeting. So if you approve it this morning, then the amendment is in effect, and all we have to do is sign off on it. The other thing it does is it clarifies how we're going to split the money, and that's the critical part. So with that, I'd recommend that you enter into this agreement.
Pleasure, board.
Mr. Chairman, do we need to read this?
I don't think so, do we?
Okay, well, I'll move that we adopt.
I have a motion on the floor that we adopt Mr. Wood's recommendation. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor, show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimous.
And the next item is to do the budget amendment for that.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Darty.
I move adoption of the budget amendment.
And what that does is that budget amendment is the $200,000, because in the intergovernmental agreement, as y'all recall, we're contributing $200,000 to their purchase of the former Goldsboro Country Club. And so that's what the budget amendment is for.
Have a motion on the floor. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor, show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimous.
The next item, Mr. Chairman, is a motion to adopt the actual resolution levying the 1% room occupancy tax on all lodging establishments.
Pleasure of the board.
Mr. Chairman, I move adoption of the resolution levying the 1% occupancy tax on all lodging establishments in Wayne County, North Carolina.
Have a motion on the floor. Any discussion?
The only thing I would add, if you have no issue with it, is just add to be effective December 1, so that that's in the motion.
To be effective December 1, 2015.
Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor, show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimous.
The next item is a motion to adopt the resolution creating the Wayne County Tourism Development Authority and making the initial appointments. On this one, I need to explain a little bit about this. As part of the local legislation that we received, one of the requirements is that you establish the Wayne County Tourism Development Authority. And this is a separate authority which you create and then you make the appointments to. There are stipulations in there about how many people have to be from hotel operators, that 1/3 have to be from that. 1/2 of the membership has to be from people who are engaged in tourism promotion. And we had to match this up with Goldsboro. Ideally, we would have liked to have used their tourism council, but that's not how the legislature's policies have it, and so we have to have a separate authority. But what we're trying to do is to mirror the makeup of the Goldsboro Tourism Council. And so we have had meetings with the city on that, and with this you'll see that we're recommending a board of 12 people. They currently have 9, but in order to meet their requirements plus our requirements, it worked out that we would need to have a 12-member board. So I've listed those in section 3 for you. You'll see that there are 3 areas where we do not list a particular person because those need to be worked out. Number 1 is a hotel operator to be determined. The city's board has 1/3 membership, but that's 3 out of 9. So we'll need to add a 4th, and to meet our criteria to have 1/3 of our membership. So I believe our intent there is that the two boards would get together and come up with a fourth recommendation for you there. Then you have item number 7, commissioner appointee for a 1-year term. And then number 9 is either a commissioner or county manager or whoever you want that to be. It does not have to be those. The reason we put that is because the city has the mayor and the city manager on it. So with that, what you would be doing today is making at least 9 of the 12 appointments, which would give us a board, create the board, and move forward with that. So at this point, I would recommend approval of this.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Gurley.
I move to adopt the resolution creating Wayne County Tourism Development Authority and making initial appointments thereto, but changing Section 3, Paragraph 9 to read County Manager or his designee, voting ex officio, member for a 3-year term starting January 1, 2016, and changing Paragraph 7 to Commissioner appointee of an individual involved in substantial agricultural production for a 1-year term beginning January 1, 2016.
That's in the form of a motion?
Yes.
I have a motion on the floor. Any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor, show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimous.
With that, Mr. Chairman, I think y'all have done everything that the statute requires on that. We've now amended the agreement with the city that details how the money will be split. The city approved that last night, so that becomes effective once it's signed. You have also levied the tax, and you've also created and named the people to the Wayne County Tourism Development Authority. The only 2 things left to do now is to work together to appoint the 4th hotel operator and then the selection of a chairman for our board.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
May I add?
Mr. Kumar, go ahead.
The last part that you referenced, Mr. Wood, the 4th member and the appointee, when will we do that?
Our understanding was that we're going to meet back between the city and county and come up with a recommendation on that.
And will that come before this board?
Yes, you have to make the appointments under the statute, so it will come back to this board.
Mr. Dunn.
I just wanted to make a comment. This is one of the hardest things I think I have ever encountered, of trying to get a 1% occupancy tax levied. I'm just glad it's over. But thank goodness everything isn't as difficult as this project was. But I'm glad that we finally accomplished our goal. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anyone else? Okay. It is 10 o'clock, Mr. Wood, according to the clock on the wall. You want to go ahead and let's do the public comment session? It is 10 o'clock. The public comment section is now open. If any citizens have any comments that they would like to make, please come forward. State your name and address, and please limit your comments, or you're limited to 4 minutes on your comments. And I want to stress this is here for public comments. It's not here for threats of any individual in the county, any elected official, or any appointed official. This is strictly for public comments only. If anyone has any comments to make, come forward now.
Bob Jackson, 109 Aurora Lane. I'd like to rescind what I previously said. There has been some talk and things I've read in the local paper about an idea that you are considering. I'd like to take a couple of minutes of your time and express my feelings on that. It seems that there's subdivisions in the county that need road repairs in order for the state to take them over and maintain them. I have thought about this and read what I've seen 2 or 3 times to try and get my arms around it, how it would work, and I cannot find a way that it's a win-win situation. I don't know how you do that. If you start to borrow money, where do you stop? And at what point does it hurt your credit rating? Which means the monies you have already borrowed, the rate will go up on them. So the ultimate outcome could very well be a tax increase, which would be horrendous for Wayne County. I have a subdivision. I have been trying hard to get my roads up to standard so the state can take it over. I would personally not even consider having the state get involved in that process other than to come and inspect and take them over when I get it to their standards. There will always be some waiting in line if you do it and put a limit on it that didn't get in line timely or tried and couldn't, whatever the situation might be, that will not be able to enjoy the fruits of your loans, let's say. And again, you do have limits, and at some point it begins to hurt you financially and the people of Wayne County. I would urge you to reconsider what has been discussed, consider it carefully and what the ramifications might be to the taxpayers of Wayne County, and to make sure that we're doing the right thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson, for your comments. Anyone else have any comments?
Lonnie Casey Jr., Chairman of the Watchdogs of Wayne again. Gentlemen, I want to caution you, Chuck and Mr. Broadway and Mr. Williams and Mr. Heaton and King have not mellowed down. They only work with you because it's election year.
Mr. Casey,
wait a minute.
Mr. Casey, I've made it very clear at the beginning of this, we're not going to stand up here and bash elected officials or citizens of Wayne County.
Well, let me make it clear to you, don't spend our money on their mess where they got us into. We're tiptoeing around quicksand. And if you guys keep spending the money, what's going to happen when there's an emergency? They've used all the collateral. There is none to borrow on. What if we have a storm and tears everything up? Who's got to pay for it? We're Wayne County residents too. We have. You have. So, sir, you think about that. There's nothing changed except they're trying to get reelected. Have a blessed day.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else?
Manager, for each of y'all,
4 precious minutes to life and death issues. Came from the Board of Elections yesterday, asked me if I was going to contest the elections this year. They're still contested now from last year. That's still going on. A few weeks back, I presented y'all a prayer and presented to the, as I did the Board of Education, all members there, and their Chief Legal Counsel, as I did Borden Parker as Chief Legal Counsel here, seeking from the Chief Legal Counsels, is it legal to speak that prayer during public comment? And yesterday, having no response, I sought to secure delivery of that to both lawyers' offices. Parker's associate said I could leave it, but it wouldn't be dated and signed, and I asked if he wished to be responsible for his words, and he said yes, and I got my recorder out, and as he was showing me the door, and he changed his mind. I went to Jack Edwards, delivered it there, took about 10 minutes, because I asked the secretary there if it's appropriate to deliver a letter, get dated and signed there for him in his capacity as Chief Legal Counsel of the Board of Education. She said yes. 10 minutes later, Jack Edwards come out, and he wanted to talk about it. I asked him, do you wish to be responsible for your words? And he went on, he wouldn't answer that question. I asked him again, do you wish to be responsible for your words? And he wouldn't answer that question, I left. I think everybody would date and sign, receive a copy of that and give it to the secretary in the county manager's office, as well as the county manager and the county attorney. I asked Joe Gurley in your capacity, previous capacity as a 911 director, if something happened, do I have your attention? Joe Gurley? Joe Gurley?
This is a public comment station. This is not a question session.
Well, he can ignore the question. He's free. I'm free to ask him a question. Something happened on 911, the county line. 2 counties responded 911, and someone needed to secure the recordings of those 911 calls to find out what went right. Sometimes things go right. You need to know how and why, or went wrong. If someone went to another county or this county seeking a copy of that fair weather, no natural disaster, or national or natural disaster, what would be a reasonable time for a 911 recording be made and provided to a citizen? You can answer that later. I'll put it in writing to you. I put these things in writing, nobody responds, so, and researching right now, been several times in the past year and a couple times the past month, the peace officer's been called on me, as it happened yesterday and within a month ago at the library, and the library director says she sent me a letter about 10 days ago. I believe she used Borden Parker as counsel. Did you receive a letter, a carbon copy of a letter to me, Borden Parker? I'll put this in writing. You may not respond, but she said she mailed it. I saw the copy of it. She said I only get 1 copy, but if she mailed it and didn't secure delivery by certified return receipt, ain't no telling what she said I mailed and get a copy. I'm addressing life and death issues at the library on the internet. When the peace officers are coming, I'm going to do a 911 request again to find out who called and why. I'll make sure that system's up. And Wayne County gets a grade A.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Drew. Anyone else have any comments?
David Edwards, representing Bobby Denny Properties, North Brazil Avenue, Mount Olive. I just want to say thank you to the commissioners and to this board for at least looking at the condition of some interior streets in some of our subdivisions. And while I do respect the opinion of other people on this, we've got a pretty serious problem in some of our subdivisions. Some that are in the Merrimack area that we have a lot of properties in, also in other parts of the county. And I want to say thank you to the commissioners for at least looking at the possibility of helping us to improve the road conditions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else have any comments to make? Anyone else? If no one else has any comments to make, the public comment section is, yes, sir.
Commissioners, my name is Charlie Holloway. Live at 1377 Indian Spring Road, Mount Olive, North Carolina. My phone number is 919-658-5493. Had the opportunity to ride around the county some myself, and I've seen some conditions there. And you got the one over by Georgia Pacific there. It's called, fit the name of it, but by where the power plant is right there, and you got one across the street from Georgia Pacific. Streets are bad, real bad. I just want to let you know that there are others in the county too, and I respect what the other gentleman has said also, but please, y'all come up with something to help us out. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Anyone else have any public comments to make? Anyone else have any comments? If not, the public comment section is now closed. Thank y'all for your comments.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Doty.
I, along with, I'm sure, a number of the board members here are concerned about the issue on subdivision streets. But I really think we're moving way too fast on this road maintenance issue. I have spoken with NCDOT, our legislators, and many others about this proposed plan for the county to borrow monies to repair subdivision streets and bring it to the NCDOT standards. This issue is not only here in Wayne County. Let me say that. It is not only here. It is throughout the entire state. This is a massive issue that has been brought on as a result of decades of negligence. It's not only in my district, but it affects homeowners throughout Wayne County. In fact, the legislature has in fact mandated that NCDOT, and I think very few of us are aware of this, I think Commissioner Pate mentioned it, that the legislature has mandated NCDOT to complete a full study of all of these subdivision streets and what the delay is on NCDOT accepting those streets into the road maintenance system. There are no reasonable estimates on the cost of any of these projects. This will, in fact, move county government over into an area that we have no responsibility of being in. There are certain things that are mandated to county government that are mandated by the legislature and by government. This is one of those that is not. This scope and this has been designated to the private sector and to the state sector. It never has been a function of county government to involve itself in street maintenance. Do recognize that as the county borrows monies, then that limits us on our ability as a county to borrow money in other areas. Whether that's schools or any of those mandated areas, that is our responsibility. This is a very serious issue, and we need to take due diligence before we jump into this matter. I would ask the county manager some questions, and maybe the county attorney can involve us. I wanted to ask our county finance officer, but she unfortunately is ill today. But the question is that I'm being posed with throughout members in the community, and that is, if we take this on, would we not be limited to 3 areas where we could pay for these improvements? 1, we could pay for it in cash. 2, we could pay for it from borrowing. Or 3, we could increase our taxes to bring in more revenues to offset its costs. I think those are the only 3 options we would have to fund these improvements. Am I correct?
Yeah, but I would not recommend 2 of those. I would not recommend that you pay down your cash, and obviously I would not recommend a tax increase. The borrowing, to me, is what makes sense, because what the statute says is that you can allow people to repay it over up to a 10-year period. So if you match the borrowing with the period that they can repay, you can spread the cost out over a 10-year period, and they're repaying the principal and the interest. So there's no need for a tax increase on that, and there's no need to use your cash. You would borrow the money and it would be paid off, and the way it would be paid back is only by the people who are assessed for the improvement of their property.
Understand. However, you would agree that it is reducing our ability to borrow in other areas as we use up our borrowing ability.
It depends.
There is a limit to what
there is a limit, but it depends on how much you borrow.
Agreed.
Because your rating would not be adversely affected if your total borrowing did not exceed certain amounts. There's no firm number on that because the rating agencies look at that. But we could talk to Davenport, our financial advisors, on that.
But we have not spoken to Davenport.
Well, we haven't spoken to them because we don't have a cost estimate yet on what we're going to do. And
well, as we saw today, there's areas all throughout the county.
Right.
And if we do this for one area in our county, we must make it available to everybody in our county. And there lies the problem, because I, as a commissioner, do not have any idea of what the total amount of obligation may be. So, again, that's where some problems are. Mr. Chairman, this board must make its decisions based upon the best interest of all of Wayne County. It is extremely clear that we do not have the necessary information to proceed with providing funding for subdivision road improvements at this time. We do not have enough information. Therefore, Mr. Chairman, I move that we table any action to implement NCGS 153A 205, that is the statute allowing us to borrow those funds, and the implementation of any funding for any road improvements in Wayne County until we receive the findings of the NCDOT study that is mandated by the North Carolina legislature, and this board receives a realistic estimate of the total obligation to Wayne County to bring all the subdivision roads up to NCDOT standards and have them accepted by NCDOT for maintenance.
You say you put that in the form of a motion?
I do. That is in a motion.
I have a motion on the floor. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Mayor.
I'd like to amend that motion and say this, is that the process that the county has started as far as getting estimates and doing a petition in no way puts this board into an obligation area. We can still move forward and get this information that's necessary without tabling everything. We can still do this for this reason, is that the DOT and the state, if it takes them 3 to 5 years to do their study, they're still not going to do the repairs. It's still going to be probably up to the citizens of this county and other counties to foot the bill to get these roads back. Now the question is, how many subdivisions are willing to wait longer? We're already in an emergency situation in some of the subdivisions that I'm aware of. Do we stymie this now? Because we can still move forward under the plan that our county managers has put forth and still not cost anybody anything and gather this information just in case it does fall back on the county. Now, having said that, we are concerned about our fund balance, whether we need to increase taxes or not. The thing that I'm remembering as a commissioner is that these are taxpayer. This is taxpayer money that these people have paid taxes, and part of the problem that we are facing today is 30 years of neglect. But the question is, who has been neglectful? Has it been the county commission over the years? Has it been the planning department? Or has it been the citizens of Wayne County that have been neglectful? So in view of that, I would like to amend the motion that even though Commissioner Daugherty has good intentions, that we still were able to move forward and get the basic information that subdivisions, I'm on Facebook with Lane Shree and other people that want to get this information. And I want to make an amendment to that motion that we continue with the plan that has been set forth by our county manager and let the DOT and the state do what they would like to do, but this is an emergency in some of our subdivisions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Bell.
I would just like to make, this is not an amendment to the motion, but I'd like to make a comment, give you a little history about county commissioners dealing with local roads. Now, we worked on this thing for about 4 years back, early 2000, when the state legislators was trying to dump all this local roads onto the Board of Commissioners. Now, it took us a long time to get the legislators to reverse that attitude as far as the county taking over. If we take over subdivision, and this is not anything against subdivision people, but if we start into the road business, it wouldn't take nothing but a stroke of a pen from the legislature to say, okay, you take over all the local roads. So we're going to have to be careful as to how we approach this, because we already had that fight one time with our state government. They've been trying for years to get the county government to take over local roads and subdivisions. So I want y'all to think about that before we, and this, like I said, this is no offense, but I just want to give you this little brief history about what's been transpiring down through the years. They have worked tireless. The County Commission Association put all efforts, and they pulled out all the stops to block, to get the legislators to change their mind in dumping the roads onto the local government. And that's a lot of money. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Camardi.
I would just like to make sure that the process moves forward. And I hear folks say emergencies here or there, but an emergency in any place is no worse than an emergency in every place. When you're talking about wherever the subdivision is, regardless of north, south, east, or west, all citizens need to have a process that moves in a way that there is an equitable, if not equal, opportunity to be in on the ground floor and make it to the top floor. My colleague Joe Darden made some points that there's a study going on by the legislature to see about the overall funding for this. That feeds into other folks' reluctance to have a tax increase, and then that's appreciated. So, and mine's not emotional, but it's simply to say, let's give this thing some time to see what the legislators can do to protect what Mr. Bell adequately said had been worked on years ago, is to ensure that the state keeps the funding for the roads. So I prevail upon us to be cautious today in moving in a direction that would put the burden of the financing on the county, but still to ensure that every part of the county had an equal opportunity to move forward together.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Page.
What I'm hearing with the amendment, we're still not going to spend any dollars. We're going to let the process go through with the petitions and that kind of thing.
I'm not clear on that.
That's what I'm trying to clear myself in my mind.
Yeah, that's what I'm meaning.
Joe Daugherty's point is well made. We don't need to spend any dollars till this full study's done, but the petition process doesn't cost any money. Right. But I take his point as well, and I don't want to. I'd like to see the legislature help us solve this problem and not be a county issue that we have to pay for.
Well, let me address what Mr. Bell's talking about. He's absolutely correct. There's been moves in the legislature probably over the last 10, 15 years, periodically, particularly as they hit difficult times from 2008 on, to shift responsibility. Just to give you a little bit of history, North Carolina had county roads up until the Great Depression. And what happened is counties were unable to maintain the roads, so the state took them over. And so that's the history of it. And that's why you have the primary road system, which is the major highways, and then you have what they call the secondary highway system, which is the residential roads. And as the legislature has hit upon hard financial times, there have been proposals to look at shifting that cost back to counties. The problem is if the legislature doesn't have enough money, counties don't have enough money. the bottom line is somebody's got to pay to maintain the roads adequately. So if the state pushes it down to the counties, basically what they're doing is pushing it down on the property taxpayer instead of using income tax and sales tax, which is what the state primarily relies on for their budget. So we do fight that battle periodically in the legislature, and we'll continue to fight that battle, regardless of what we do here. This provision is in the state statute because the legislature's policy is that there has to be an entity that can put this together and enforce payment of the taxes if there's not an HOA that can share the cost and that sort of thing. So this provision of the statute is in there for that reason. And they do give you the statutory authority to do that. The thing I want to stress again, though, is what this affects is your borrowing capability. But it is not repayment from the general fund of the county or any other funds of the county. The repayment is done by special tax assessments on these individual property owners. So, for instance, in a subdivision, if there's 200 lots, whatever the cost comes out to be, that would be divided by 200, and that would be the special assessments, and those people would pay principal and interest over 10 years, which would cover all of our costs, including any engineering, advertisement, bond issuance cost, any of that can be thrown in there. So they pay the full amount on it, not the taxpayers of the county. But Mr. Bell's correct. It's a separate issue of if the legislature did change the law, whether you had these special assessments out there or not, they can change because, we are political subdivisions of the state. So if they so choose, they can say, change the law and say that counties will now take over the secondary road system. But I can also tell you that that would be a tremendous political battle, and that's why they haven't done it yet. Because if 100 counties go up there and start talking about the level of tax increases it would take to maintain these roads, that's generally why they back off, because they haven't figured out how to pay for it. It's one thing to say we'll transfer the responsibility, and then when you get down to the reality and say, okay, what revenue source are you going to give counties to pay for it, then we're right back at the same situation. So, and that's generally why they back off. But so the issue becomes really what level of money would you authorize in any given year? So you had asked me to work up some policies on this. The policies we're looking at that we would present to you would have a provision in there that basically says you would make a determination year by year as to how much you would do. And that's how you would keep a limit on how much you borrowed. And the other aspect of it, going back to what Mr. Cromartie said, is you obviously can't afford to do everything all at one time. So the other provision, if you're going to have a policy on it, would be how do you rank these? And in my opinion, the way you rank these is everybody has an equal opportunity to go out and get the petitions. And all they have to do now is call Chip Crumpler's office, the planning director, and ask us, and we'll prepare the petition. We've now prepared 2. And Mr. Parker has reviewed the format and approved that it meets the statute. So we have 1 out. He's working on the 2nd. So if you went forward with a policy, my recommendation would be that you do it on a first-come, first-served basis. Whoever gets their petition in first, and you would have a list of in chronological order of who has submitted a valid petition. Not any, it has to be valid. If they come in and it's 60%, not 75%, that's not a valid petition, so they wouldn't be on the list. So I would use the petition process as a means of limiting how much you do. Plus, the policy will clearly state that it's on a it's as funds are available. So that leaves it to the board each year to limit how much debt you would go into. But clearly, you can't have a policy that just says, if you do a petition, we'll do it. You got to have limits on it.
Mr. Chairman, I've got a motion on the floor. Let me clarify. One, there's nothing in this motion that prevents us moving forward with the petition from these subdivisions for the state, and we need to work with them and assist them so that they get the proper petitions signed and submitted to NCDOT. And NCDOT needs to do their job, and that is free of charge, go into these subdivisions and clarify what is required for it to be brought up to NCDO standards, and petition them to bring them before the board for us to approve that. That's the normal process that's in place now, and it does not cost anyone anything other than NCDOT. Let me finish.
Okay.
There's nothing in this motion that prevents that. Number two, I must state that in my conversations with the legislators, it's very clear that they have done one major thing that has not happened in the past. They moved over $200 million out of the general fund that they had been taking out of NCDOT funds. They now have restored those.
That's right.
Now, according to the legislators, they're stating that one of the major reasons they did that is to provide the funding for maintenance of the state roads. They acknowledge the fact that NCDOT has been less than excited about bringing in more roads in that they did not have the funding to maintain their existing network. So it opens it up to where NCDOT is under pressure to accept more roads into the system. This motion only states that we stop any further allocation of dollars, that what we do basically is wait for the study to come back. One final point, and directly to Commissioner Bell's point. The legislature is looking at us evidently online. I didn't realize they took time to watch these programs, but they are in fact concerned. They are watching with interest what Wayne County does here to see whether or not they want to basically give us more of maintenance of, going forward. So I'm just saying we need to slow down. We need to look at the full implications before we haphazardly go out here and start borrowing monies in order to repair roads and encourage the legislature to dump it all on us. So my motion is, and I call for the question, Mr. Chairman.
Well, Mr. Mayor, on the amendment that I made to your motion, could we set this amendment to where if we're going to move forward, and we have agreed to move forward with the county manager's recommendation for the subdivision to get the petition, can we put an amendment to this, attachment to it that says if a subdivision decides by petition that they want to move forward with the assessment and get the estimates and are willing to pay for the engineering and so forth, like has already been said, that each subdivision would have an option to either wait for the state or move forward. Can we do that? Because, and one other thing is...
Well, that amendment is very broad. It needs to be narrowed.
Okay, and I agree with that, but what I'm getting at is that we have waited for years for something to take place, and what I'm saying is because we set up this assessment for paving districts, the county does not put us in the road business. Just like when we set up the lighting, which is a much smaller amount, it didn't put us into the lighting business or any other something like the fire tax. When we did the fire tax, it didn't put us in the firefighting business. I don't believe that. I think we are showing good faith by working with the citizens of this county and not use up all of our fund balance, but certainly over the next year or so, when we get some of this debt paid off, like for the schools, the first year of our school payments, we should be able to help these subdivisions that volunteer on their own to go forward and get the cost estimates and get the work done. Can we do that?
Well, I don't know what your amendment is. Would you state your amendment?
I would like to state that the existing policy that the county manager has put forth and that the board has approved, we have approved the policy for going forward with.
Is there any funding attached to your
No,
amendment?
but what I'm saying is that it should be up to a subdivision if they want to move forward now and get their roads repaired, going through the petition process and letting the county charge them by assessment, just like we've been talking about. I want to leave it up to each subdivision and have that option. Can I do that?
If you do, you basically negated the amendment, is basically what you're doing, because you're basically amending my motion to say, let's proceed on with those subdivisions that would want to proceed on under the arrangements that we, as far as assessment.
Mr. Chairman, can I clarify something?
Yes, please.
This is just on point of clarification.
Yes.
Where we're at in the process is that what we're operating on right now is the statutes that deal with this on special assessments, okay? And looking through that, we're working on a policy. We have not adopted a policy yet. We're going to bring that to you but if this passes, there's no need to bring the policy forward.
That's correct. I hate to interrupt you, but yes, my motion says, and now let me read it again. I move that we table any action to implement NC 153A205, which is the statute by which you are speaking of, and the implementation of any funding for any road improvements in Wayne County until we receive the findings of the NCDOT study mandated by the NC legislature, and this board receives a realistic estimate of the total obligation to Wayne County to bring all subdivision roads up to NCDOT standards and accepted by NCDOT for maintenance. That is my motion.
So, just to finish it then, basically what we have done is under that section 205 and other parts of the statute, it talks about the petition process. And so we're following the statutory process on preparing these petitions, the format they have to take and all that. The county attorney has reviewed the format of the petitions. So we now have one out. We've had a request for a second. We're preparing that now, Chip Crumpler is, and we'll have that out shortly. So my question is that if Mr. Doherty's motion passes, what do you want us to do in terms of petitions?
Mr. Chairman. I think he has a question. I want to give you my thought on that. I think I heard you say earlier that one of the methods that you might, and I don't want to put words in my mouth, one of the methods you might recommend for the funding is that first come, first serve. Some areas of the county may have a running start on other parts of the county, and we're going to allocate X number of dollars. And my concern is that first come, first serve is a nice way to put it, but we need to set a legitimate date that all areas of the county will have a chance to work with these more rural or spread it out subdivisions versus more maybe concise, consolidated subdivisions. My concern is that any rush to put something in place right now without, number one, seeing what the legislature do to see if they're going to fund it, and secondly, to make sure that we have communicated this out to all parts of the county and all subdivisions so that everyone can be in on that survey. Maybe I'm using the wrong word, but the stepping into it, the making the survey, to making the list of folk who want to be involved on more of an equal footing. My concern is that we make sure that everyone is coming along in the same pace, because if we do an absolute first come, first serve, and we allocate a certain amount of money, somebody's going to be down the road and others are going to be way up the road. So let's give them.
Well, that goes back to Mr. Doherty's concern, though, I think his concern is that how would you then allocate it out?
Mr. Chairman, what this does, and you all are putting the cart before the horse. One, we have not had the time to fully vet this entire problem. That's my concern. And that's the concern of a lot of citizens out here. We have not taken the time to fully vet this. What is the total obligation? What is the total need? Those things need to be done. What this motion does, basically, it puts off our decision to fund any of these road improvements until we get the report back from the mandated study from the North Carolina legislature, which is to be in the spring of next year. So basically, I'm asking for about 6 months of time for us to study the issue before we jump into this boiling water here and go off the cliff and commit that this county is going to fund road improvements throughout the entire county. And that's what we're doing today. So I'm asking that we stop, we back up, we slow down, and we give some time here for us to study this issue before we move forward.
Well, okay, so where we're at right now is we do not have a policy because we've not adopted the policy. All we've done is prepare the petitions because in our discussions here, y'all had indicated you wanted us to go forward with it. So in the absence of a policy, if this passes, what I'm asking is, what do you want me to tell people who call and say, we want to file a petition? Do you want me to say, we're not accepting petitions at this point because we've put a halt to it? Or do you want me to tell them to go ahead with the petitions, but we haven't made a decision about any funding at this point?
Mr. Chairman, since it's my motion, can I answer that?
Yeah.
What I would ask you to do is to do what was happening 3 weeks ago and before, and that is work with these citizens, work with NCDOT to have the system that is in place currently implemented. And that is any person living on a non-DOT maintained road that was built to NCDOT standards may in fact petition NCDOT to come and review that road and make a list of what is necessary to be brought up to their standards. Now that's free. That doesn't cost anybody anything. And that's in place today. And we need to help them. We need to work and reach out to NCDOT, and we need to help them to get the petition together in order to do that. Once those things are required, there is where the rubber meets the road. Most subdivisions, as we just heard today, most subdivisions have the property owners pitch in order to pay for that. They create a homeowners association or they assess themselves in order to bring it to those standards, and then they, can I complete? Then at that point, NCDOT will or will not take it in. But it is their responsibility. It is not the county's responsibility. We are moving this over into the county responsibility, and I have a great deal of heartburn with that.
Okay. Let me just address one thing there.
Okay.
I think where you and I are differing, and what you do as a policy is your call. But I want to be clear about this. Once DOT gives them that information, the state statute says they are to petition you, not DOT, you. And then you make a determination about it. That's why those provisions are in the statutes. I'm not aware of any other method for doing it, are you?
Unless it's voluntarily.
Yeah, like a homeowners association. The problem is most of these don't have a homeowners association, which is why
we cannot solve this problem today. I ask that my motion be voted on, that we take this time necessary, that we study the issue and develop some policies. Again, I move that we table any action to implement that statute, NC GS 153A205, and the implementation of any funding for any road improvements in Wayne County until we receive the findings of the NCDOT study mandated by the North Carolina legislature, and this board receives a realistic estimate of the total obligation to Wayne County to bring all subdivision roads up to NCDOT standards and have them accepted by NCDOT for maintenance. And I call the question.
Well, Mr. Mayor has an amendment.
I never understood what his amendment was.
To move forward according to the petitions, like we have verbally, not contractually, agreed to get the petitions to the subdivisions to still give them the option, if they want to do their road repairs based on getting DOT estimates, saying let DOT do the work. That's what we talked about, is that right?
Well, no, now DOT's only gonna do the work if you borrow the money.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, if you do that amendment to his motion is to freeze any money.
Well, that's what I know, and what I'm saying is, I withdraw my amendment, but here's the key. I'm gonna vote against this because these seats out here have been filled for the last 2 months with what the citizens want here in Wayne County. And we are going directly against what has been recommended from our citizens. So I am gonna vote against waiting for the state to come up with their information. Thank you.
Mr.
I withdraw my motion.
Mr. Bale.
I didn't tell you a few minutes ago, I've talked to several legislators, including our own here in Wayne County, and they are afraid that we're going to throw 99 other counties under the bus if we pursue this effort before the study and everything is done. So,
Mr. Chairman, I just have one comment too.
Yes, sir. Mr. Gurley.
Kind of piggybacking on what Commissioner Cromartie said, is there any way that we can do a outstanding job on getting this communicated out to the public? I know we have newspapers that reports, and I know we have our own Channel 10 that we report our meetings, but is there any way we can get that information out so that everybody has a chance to come in on the ground level evenly? Just give some thought as to the process maybe we could come
Well,
up with.
I don't mind doing that. I'm still not clear on how far you want me to go. I mean, it sounds like what you're saying is continue with the petition process.
No.
But if you do that, then if somebody comes in here and they get a 75% petition, then basically we've got to hold it in place, if I'm understanding your motion,
Well,
until we get this state report back.
I withdrew my amendment that was going to continue that. So whatever Commissioner Daugherty just read is what we're voting on.
Well,
And that's the table,
That's correct.
the process.
That's correct.
Or you want to table the whole process? So if people call me or call the planning director, do we encourage them to do the petitions, or we say at this point it's on hold? That's all I'm asking, is I need to know what to tell people.
Question, the petition we're talking about, is it separate and different from the one that DOT uses? Is it a different petition?
It's a petition.
Okay, so what you're suggesting is, Mr. Dollar, is they petition
DOT.
DOT instead of,
That's correct.
until such time we give the legislature some time to study this and get back to us.
That's correct. That's
Full scope of what we got.
Well, that's exactly what hasn't worked for 15 years.
Well,
Well, I agree with you.
I mean,
It's probably-
that's exactly what hasn't worked. So, but he's called for the vote, so let's get it over.
Any other comments?
I just want, one other thing. I'm really torn on this because I got the same problem in my neighborhood.
I got them in mind.
But I really want to get the legislature in. Apparently, they are really locked in and know the problem here. So I'm gonna vote to give them some time. And but we'll look at this after they have an opportunity to take a look at it more closely before we spend a whole lot of dollars. And those people who've been sitting out here, I understand what they're going through. People have to go through those neighborhoods. Your car is liable to just disappear.
Okay.
So, but anyway, so I'm through.
I have one other question, and that is, if the legislature comes back, they've identified the issue, but they haven't changed the statute and it's still the way it's written, at some point, you're going to need some process for determining priorities. So the only thing I would suggest is, if you're not going to use first come, first serve, you need to be thinking about what other priority system you would use. How would you rank these?
And, Mr. Chairman, another
Mr.
thing
Gurley.
too, a little delay here may be helpful. If I understand right, with the bond referendum that the governors in the House and State Senate's putting on the ballot for March, it's $2 billion or $2 billion some change. Part of that's for our road infrastructure. From what I'm understanding from the legislators, if they get the bond passed, the money used on the, not legislators, I'm talking about staff, state staff I've talked to, the bond money will be spent on road systems. Then the money they've been stealing from the general fund and the highway tax fund and the gas fund, all these dollars then will go into secondary roads and the other roads. So those two things may come together with a bond passage and the study coming out about the same time. And in addition to that, we won't be behind the 8 ball because we'll be in our budget process at that time. So we'll still have a somewhat of an eye, maybe we can put a cap on what we're going to put in that fund for road resurfacing and improvements. So this delay is not terrible. It's probably a better idea to just go kind of evaluate a little more slowly and see how things fall together, and then we'll make our final decision. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anyone else?
And just to kick on Mr. Burke, just carefully determine how the process will be in terms of selection. We just need to study that one.
Anyone else? Mr. Mayor, you did withdraw your amendment?
Yes. I have a motion on the floor. Is there any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor of Mr. Doherty's motion, show sign of right hand. All opposed? Likewise. 6 to 1. You voted, Mr. Bell? Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Doherty.
following up on that, I would ask that you appoint a committee of, or a working group to develop some type of a policy moving forward after, so during this interim, we can develop some policy that we're all comfortable with, that we can move forward once the study is in fact comes back to us. So I would ask that you appoint a working group to do that, because we do need to move forward on it. It is a major problem, but it's a problem that could amount to bankrupting our county. Now, I'm telling you, it could in fact cause us to borrow more funds than we have the ability to borrow. And if we set out under our current thing on first come, first serve, and this was what I'm hearing out there in my district, and that is who's going to be first and who's going to be unserved. And then, is that fair? So I think if we're going to go this route, we need to get everybody to the table and find out what our needs are and find out how much we need to borrow. So I would ask that you appoint a working group. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And can we have a little break?
Yes,
I'm exhausted.
Let's take a 10-minute break.
Thank you.
Mr. Bell.
About 5 after 11.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry. Withdraw.
We can go ahead and take care of that one, can't we?
Yep, I'll hold.
That would be number 8 under new business.
Right. That's right. It's a motion to accept the recommendation of the Wayne County Democratic Party Executive Committee and appoint Judy Harrison as the Wayne County Register of Deeds.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Okay, I'll offer a motion that we'll approve the recommendation made by the Democratic Party, Mrs. Ernestine Wooten, Chairman, to appoint Ms. Judy Harrison as Director of
Register of Deeds.
Register of Deeds.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor from Mr. Bell, and we have a letter from the Democrat Party making their request. Have a motion on the floor. Any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimous.
Congratulations.
Mr. Chairman, I have a note from Crystal asking if we can hold the a closed session because they've got a trip to Asheville that they've got to leave for. So if when you take your break, if we could go ahead before you take your break and make a motion to go into closed session.
One thing, I think we've got a couple of gentlemen here maybe waiting on number 6. If we could get 6 out of the way.
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Harrison wanted to say a word too.
Okay, all right. Come up to the microphone, please.
I just wanted to thank all of you so much. February the 15th, 1984, I started here, and my goal that day was to get what you just gave me, and I have worked very hard to get there. I thank you so very much. God bless you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. And which,
Number 6.
Number 6.
Number 6 under new business?
Unfinished.
Unfinished
Yeah,
business.
we've got Chip here and a couple of gentlemen in the back there that's been waiting patiently.
Okay.
At the last meeting, we had a public hearing. We received public comment on a rezoning request on West US 70 Highway 581 and Westbrook Avenue. There was joining property owner notified of the public hearing. Advertisement was run in the newspaper, and signs were posted. We have basically 5 areas: Area A, B, C, D, and E. Most of it is community shopping zone. It's intersected by a new service road there that's open, and you did not take any action at your last meeting, so we're looking to for a motion and approval of amending the zoning map.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Mayor.
Make a motion that we approve the proposed amendments to the Wayne County zoning map in the US Highway 70 West, Westbrook Avenue, NC Highway 581 area.
Have a motion on the floor. Any discussion? Any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor show sign of right hand. Motion carries. Mr. Bell had to leave. He has a doctor's appointment, and so therefore we're going to finish the meeting out with just the 6 of us. Do I have a motion? We'll take a break and go into closed session.
I so move.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. We got one more item under unfinished business.
No.
Number 5.
Remember, unfinished business. This is the Department of Work schedules. I've given you a fairly detailed memo on that. This has to do, the last 3 are DSS, which we agreed we're going to wait until March. And then the DSS board is going to give us a recommendation on that, just like the health board did. And on these, the animal control, we have some staggered schedules, so they do have 5-day coverage for the public. And as I said in the memo, it's actually open to the public from noon to 5:30, Monday through Friday, because the first few hours are spent feeding the animals, cleaning the cages, and all that sort of thing. So I think animal shelter is fine. The other one is IT. They also have 5-day coverage, and all of their customers are internal. They're our internal department, so there is no citizen contact really on their part. So with that, I recommend you do what I've recommended on the animal shelter, or animal control, excuse me, because it's the shelter and the enforcement folks. and then also on IT. And then we'll defer DSS until March.
Pleasure to board.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Mayor.
Motion to approve the departmental work schedules as for animal services and information technology per the county manager's recommendation.
Have a motion on the floor. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor, show your sign of right hand. Motion carries. Can we take the consent agenda pretty quick? I mean,
Yes, sir.
If it's going to be time consuming, I don't jump up.
Well,
and do something.
I think we discussed it at 8 o'clock session, so unless somebody's got a question.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Doherty.
There was one in there we were going to take out.
Well, it says on here that that it's to deny.
Denial.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't read that.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion on the floor that we approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor, show your sign of right hand. Motion carries. Let's take care of the two items that the Sheriff Department and David is involved in, please.
All right, well, new business, number one would be David.
Okay.
Finally.
Briefly.
Finally.
I don't, we can't ask him to be brief, but we hadn't been brief.
I can. You have on the agenda 4 plans for your community development program that demonstrate the county does not discriminate on various factors, and that it encourages equal opportunity in terms of employment, procurement, handicap status, and also non-English speaking citizens. These plans were adopted 3 years ago. They expired in October. You're required to keep them current, so this is basically readopting the same plans for 3 more years. And it will apply to the current grants and any grants the county may receive during the 3-year period.
These grants are 100% grants?
These are all, they relate to our community development block grant.
Okay.
The Low Drive grant and the scattered site that we're finishing up.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Doherty.
I move that we approve the various plans that relate to the equal opportunity and non-discrimination in housing, employment, procurement, and provisions of services for community development block grants.
I have a motion on the floor. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor, show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimous.
Thank you.
Mr. Epler, you're up next.
Thanks, David.
Thanks for your patience.
Okay, it says you want me to talk about high pursuit policy, but I want to just make sure we don't have a high pursuit policy. We have a emergency response and vehicle pursuit policy, which includes all our driving, regular driving, emergency response driving, and our pursuit driving. Within the last year, we've had 11 chases with our sheriff's office. We have 4 of them initiated from speed, 1 active warrant, 1 DWI, B&E suspect, no headlights, no registrations, and avoiding a checkpoint, or 2 of them avoiding a checkpoint. So like I say, some of these things that started these chases was something that could have paid off. Then they got themselves a whole lot more trouble, which led to a whole lot more charges, of course. I'm not going to try to read this to you word for word. I'll just go over the highlights. If you've got any questions, I'll be glad to answer anything I can. Our policy is based after, first of all, protection of the public. The whole thing is pertaining to, before engaging in a pursuit of a vehicle, we are supposed to initiate this thing with considering several factors, making sure we can do it safely without, causing a danger to the public. Our first obligation is to the public, protection of the public. Under General Statute 20-145, we can go over the speed limit in our job, but even in that situation, exemptions shall not, however, protect the driver of any such vehicle from the consequence of a reckless disregard of the safety of others. So that's again where we point out just the safety of the public. Under General Statute 20-156, we have got an exception of the right-of-way rule of the highway. But at the same time, this provision shall not operate to relieve the driver of the police vehicle from the duty to drive with due regard for the safety of all persons using the highway, nor shall it protect the driver of any such vehicle from the consequences of an arbitrary exercise of such right-of-way. Driving that is wanton and reckless disregard for the safety of others is illegal and never justified by any emergency, no matter what it is. And we can't hit no one if we don't get to them, in other words. And we don't want to hurt anybody else trying to get to them. And of course, our emergency response driving is considered driving to the scene of a call where there may be a danger to a life or a threat to officer safety or a report of violence to the public. So that's what we consider just emergency response. Pursuit driving is what all of you know we're chasing something for some reason or other. And a routine driving is our patrolling around the county, which is what we do most of the time. And our due regard for the safety of the officer is driving with due regard to the safety of the officer means the officer is not driving in a manner that is wanton and reckless disregard of the risk of a serious injury to others. Driving without due regard for the safety of others means the officer is driving with a wanton and reckless disregard of the risk of serious injury to others. So that's what it's all based around. We don't want to cause any danger to the public. Of course, pursuit and termination of pursuit. Termination of pursuit means the deputy should deactivate emergency operation equipment upon their vehicle and bring their vehicles into compliance with the traffic regulations at any time. There's several reasons we can stop a pursuit. The deputy is doing it. If you don't think he can do it safely, it's his duty to call it off. Any supervisor can call it off. If he don't think the person's driving safely enough or it's causing a risk to the public, it's our duty to call it off. Anybody that's on duty, any supervisor on duty at the time. It does not necessarily have to be a patrol supervisor. It could be me, it could be any of my captains, lieutenants, or the sheriff. We can all call that off. And of course, we're considering during the procedure, we're always considering the weather condition, the visibility, traffic volume, road conditions, reason for the pursuit and seriousness of the suspected violation, time of day and known road conditions, danger presented to the public, law enforcement vehicle conditions, deputies' training and ability, and danger to the public pursuit caused by the pursuit. We do not, in all pursuits, of course, the blue light siren has to be activated and has to be continually activated throughout the whole pursuit. Let's see. We also talk to the communications at the same time, inform them that we are in pursuit. We're supposed to keep with them all the time where we're at so they can get us help with their team. When a second unit is assigned or catches up with that pursuit, our policy is to let the second unit call into the communications so the first unit can concentrate completely on his driving. That way the guy behind you can tell you where you're going and he's paying attention to just that. That way, as long as he's close enough, he can tell you. That's why there's a little bit more safe precaution on that. The lead unit may end the pursuit at any time it appears that danger to the public because of the pursuit outweighs the danger of allowing the suspect to escape. Pursuit should also be terminated if at any time the deputy feels that his ability to maintain control of his vehicle is jeopardized. Everybody has different skills of driving. Some things I wouldn't want to drive through, some things I could drive through. But that's we've got to judge ourselves on some of that to make sure we are handling what we can. It can be terminated any time the deputy feels, that's what I just said, when the deputy feels that he or she can positively identify the fleeing suspect. The pursuit should be ended for safety reasons unless there's a greater danger to the public and the suspect is not immediately apprehended. That's a big judgment call. It depends on what you're chasing for. I mean, if it's a violent crime, I don't think I'd want to get him away. If it's a minor crime, I can identify you driving the car. I can take out a warrant on you later on. I can call it off, which he's going to slow down, which we get out of there. Most of the time. Sometimes they don't. We do not ram a car unless it's absolutely necessary, where it's really causing big danger for the public, and it's only if the supervisor at the time orders that done. Now, you can do a ramming, and then there's some things that Highway Patrol is trained in, like a pit maneuver. We are not trained in that, or most of our guys are not anyway. So we don't try to activate that, but we have had situations where there's actually been a collision between two cars forcing one off the road. I mean, that's just a judgment call you're going to have to do. Let's see. Marked units were always supposed to take the precedence on our chase. Even when I worked drug enforcement for years, we might initiate a chase, get into it. But as soon as a marked unit would get up there, we try to back off, let that marked unit get in there, so the public would know it's law enforcement chasing them and not two thugs chasing each other, whatever. Let's see. Okay, our policy is also we will not engage in a vehicle pursuit initiated by another agency unless they are requesting us to. Now, we will get in the area so we can assist towards the end of it. So we can get in there, and or if he gets in a dangerous situation, we can back him up. But we will not automatically join it unless they are requesting us to. And same thing with most other agencies. The Highway Patrol, I think they've still got the same policy. They changed it a few years ago. They used to come in and take over our policy. But they've done something exactly like we do. Our chase road. They do not take over and chase now. They will be secondary or in the area, but they won't take it over automatically if it's our initiated chase. We do have our vehicle pursuit report we have to fill out every time we have one. It's part of our general order number 8. every pursuit turns in to our captain of patrol and keeps it going on this, so we have a record of everything. Of the ones that we have been involved in, we have 2 stopped for single car accidents. Everything else, the driver just stopped. That's that's simple. Most of the time they'll find out they can't. You know, you hear things all throughout the country. Some people don't want to have a chase policy. I don't think you can do that. Because if that gets known, you're not going to have a chase policy. Everybody's going to run, and they're going to just take off on you. But you got to have to use common sense. You got to consider safety of the public to what you initiate and what you go on with. I'm glad to answer any questions y'all got.
Any questions?
So each officer in the car has an opportunity to decide if whatever happened warrants a chase.
Yes, sir. You have that opportunity, plus the supervisor also has that opportunity.
Does the county have in place a list of things that the officers are trained to warrant a chase?
No, sir, any violation of law could warrant a chase.
Well, and the reason I ask that is, it's unlawful to have a light not on your tail lights or
True.
And suspicion of having drugs in a car.
True.
Without knowing or seeing them. And the reason I say that is, I've always been under the impression, if you thought with drugs, just pick one. A tail light. And with the new technology we have, cameras and all those things, if you get close enough to see that there's a tail light missing on the car, maybe you're close enough for the camera to pick up the license tag, send him up. But anything that can be initiated into a chase that is not something life-threatening can result in a threatened life down the street someplace. That's my concern with that, without getting into the weeds on everything. I just want to generally say that you don't want the horror stories of somebody chasing a non-violent crime to kill grandma down the road.
I understand that 100%. I agree with you 100%. But the problem is we don't know why we're chasing them a lot of times.
Well, that's my point, I guess. I mean, you just answered it right there. You just answered it right there. If somebody shot somebody, that person ought to be chased. Somebody broke in somebody's house, kicked the door down, find them. But that's, guess what I mean. All these things, a chase gets started that we don't know that it was one of those situations, life and death, violent crime, and a chase gets started, then it turns into tragedy down there someplace.
And you're right, it's always a risk that will be taken. I mean, our thing is, if I'm stopping you for that taillight out, my first problem is, if you took off running from me, why are you running? It's just a taillight out. Have you killed a man down the road? You know, so we don't know that. So it's a judgment call you have to go to. If it gets into a chase where it goes through a school zone and everything, I expect my people to stop. Mm-hmm. I mean, or even a housing development. Now, the good thing about us, they're not going to outrun the radio. We might be able to get cars around there to block them off and keep going.
I guess that's what I'm.
Right, we definitely want to do that.
Right there is the new technology, taking advantage of it, rather than an extended high-speed chase. An extended high-speed chase. There's not a determination there's been violence committed on someone. All right.
I mean, I agree. We also have stop sticks that can be ordered put out by the supervisors. I mean, but of course with that, you have to judge where you're going to put it out, the safety of the officer that has put it out, because there's been many officers killed putting out those stop sticks. And putting out there, either the guy had deliberately hit him, you know, which was be a murder, or he's, you know, just hadn't got out of the way fast enough. But either way, he's dead. You know, so we got to look at it that way. But I agree with you 100%. We do not want to take the risk of a chase when we know it's a minimum thing. But our problem is we never know what it is. Because it could be he just left his house going down, we stopped him for speed because he'd get away from where he killed his family. And we just don't know at the time. Now, you still have to use your judgment, though. If it gets into a dangerous spot, you have to use your judgment. If it gets dangerous to the public, then we have to stop, even if we don't know it at the time. And we can't charge a license plate. We have to identify that person.
Any other questions? I just want to commend y'all on what you do.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Y'all put your life in harm's way almost every day for us, and I just want to thank y'all.
And I believe we've got some very good
I thank the
officers.
sheriff and everyone under him, right on down to the lowest person on the totem pole. I want to thank y'all and commend you for what you do. And if my house gets broken into, get there quick as you can.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
Number 3, Mr. Wood. Or Mr. Gurley.
Yeah, Kendall's here to talk about that. You want to go ahead, Kendall? Yes, sir.
All right, gentlemen, the Envirocon contracts that we're talking about, this company is responsible for the HVAC controls in 5 of our buildings, including this one. And the reason we're wanting to cancel that contract, we just don't feel like we're getting the service that we should be. Got a long list of things that they have lacked on. We found equipment not even connected, not hooked up, and that they're controls all of our HVAC in these 5 buildings, and we would just like to terminate that. Think that's probably the best thing, and look for other sources to have that done. We still need it done, but we need somebody that's going to take care of it properly, and that's why we're asking to terminate this contract.
Any questions for Ken?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, how long have we had this contract in place with them?
3 years that I know of. It was a 5-year contract, and 3 of them have been paid previous, and there's 2 more. Technically, if we keep going, we've got 2 more to go, but there is an option that we could opt out of it on the anniversary date, which is now, November the 1st.
Have you been having problems with them all along?
Yes,
or?
sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes,
Any
sir.
other questions? Pleasure.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Darby.
I move that we cancel the Envirocon contract for the HVAC controls.
Have a motion on the floor. Any other discussion? No discussion. All in favor, show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimously.
Hang on. The next one is with Kendall as well. A motion to approve the facility director to move forward with cost estimates to upfit the Pinewood Station to accommodate WayneNet, and approve the county manager to move forward with relocation should it prove feasible after all due diligence is completed. And again, we went through the facilities committee on this, and they recommended that we move forward with it.
Pleasure,
Anything
board.
you want to add to that?
I've actually I've actually been over there several times and looked at the facility, and it's really not a bad building already, like it is the office areas, been remodeled not too long ago. Very, very minor things we would need to do to it to get it ready for WayneNet, and a whole lot of it we do with in-house personnel, so very, very minimal. It's gonna cost a little money, but nothing that we would have to hire out and spend lots of money to get it ready. Probably could have it ready in 30 days.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Gurley.
Motion to approve facility director to move forward with the cost estimates to upfit Pinewood Station to accommodate WayneNet. Also approve the county manager to move forward with relocation provided feasible after all due diligence is completed. We have one motion.
Have a motion on the floor. Any discussion? Only thing I would say is when you get into it, and if we do approve it, to go ahead, we're approving now to move forward with it, but at some point, you're going to have to put a name on the building.
Yes, sir.
And I'm not speaking for the whole board, I'm just speaking for Wayne. Incorporate the word Pinewood in it somehow or another. I feel like we owe that to that community.
Yes, sir.
If the other commissioners disagree, I can live with whatever. Any other comments?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, let me follow up on that. I mean, this volunteer fire department has been there for ages, for a long time, and I think it is suiting that we do name the building Pinewood, whatever, but that Pinewood actually be incorporated in that name. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anyone else? Pleasure to board. Well, you got a motion on the floor, right,
Yes.
Mr. Gurley? No other discussion, all in favor, state your sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, I believe, and I've talked to the county attorney, I believe what's left is under our new.
We got one more.
Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. Right.
Number 5. Mr. Mayor, you want to read that?
Yes. Before I read it, I just want to remind the board, and most of you have already got your invitations, that as part of National Apprenticeship Week, Wayne County is being a part of this, and of course this is a nationwide initiative that our president started. But here in Wayne County, we're having on November 4th at 8 a.m. at Lane Tree, we're having a breakfast. We're going to have people from the North Carolina apprenticeship program under Commerce from Raleigh, and we're going to be educating business leaders and company leaders on how to enroll in the apprenticeship program, how they can get involved, and most of all, the benefits to any company that has an apprenticeship program. So with that, I will read the declaration. National Apprenticeship Week, November 2nd through the 6th, 2015. Whereas apprentices on average earn more than $50,000 upon program completion and have shown to increase their compensation by approximately $300,000 over their lifetime, and whereas 90% of apprenticeship completers enter and sustain employment, and whereas studies show that apprenticeships provide a good return on investments for workers and employers, and whereas apprenticeships are also good for the nation. For every $1 invested in apprenticeship, the public returns approximately $28 in benefits. And whereas the President's lifting up of apprenticeship in the 2014 State of the Union address launched a national effort to expand apprenticeships in the United States, and whereas Wayne County and other counties across the country promote this effort, now therefore be it resolved that the Wayne County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim November 2nd through the 6th, 2015 as National Apprenticeship Week in Wayne County, and encourages all citizens to learn more and join the apprenticeship initiative. Adopt this the 20th of October 2015. I put that in the form of a motion to accept this resolution, Mr. Chairman.
I have a motion on the floor. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor, show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 6, Mr. Wilson.
Item number 6 is a motion to rescind the $74,000 North Carolina Eastern Region loan allocation to the town of Mount Olive at its request, and the reallocation of funds to the Wayne Regional Agricultural and Convention Center Capital Project Fund, and to approve a budget amendment 152, which moves that money over. And you have the letter from the town of Mount Olive where they've asked to turn the money down because of the cost.
Mr. Chairman, I so move that we accept that recommendation
With
with the appropriate budget amendment.
Yes.
I have a motion on the floor. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor, show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimously. Number 7, we should have a letter on that also.
Right.
I make a motion that we accept the recommendations of Southeastern Sanitary District, and they had lost a member, Mr. Sam Casey Jr., which has been on that board from the inception of the Sanitary District, and they have sent us a name, Mr. Floyd Rudy Peden, 154 Sleepy Creek Drive in Dudley. I'd like to put that in the form of a motion that we appoint him. Any discussion? No discussion, all in favor, show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimous. Already taken care of number 8, number 9, surplus equipment at Pinewood Fire Department, Mr. Wood.
Yes, sir. As I reported earlier, we've gone through the gov deals process. We had a reservation on it. Neither one of the gov deals reached our reserve, and therefore we don't have to sell at that level. Subsequent to that, within a few days, we had requests from people to pay more than what the gov deal's final bid was. And so what we're recommending is that you sell the newer fire truck for $75,000 to the Shine Fire and EMS Department, which is in our neighboring county of Greene County. And then the second one is that we sell the 1987 FMC fire truck for $6,500 to the Tyrone Volunteer Fire Department. And you said Minnesota? Minnesota. So, and obviously, we don't give them title till we get cash, and it clears.
And it clears.
You need a motion?
Yes.
I make a motion that we sell the 2 surplus fire trucks at Pinewood Fire Department, one for $75,000 and one for $6,500. I put that in form of a motion. Now, any discussion?
Just make sure the older one is at 6,500.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And I would say that, you know, the one that's going to Shines Crossroads, that does join Wayne County. It's not only just in Greene County, but it does join Wayne County. That's right. And there's probably, I don't know, I don't listen to all the calls, but I'm quite sure that probably New Hope and Shines do run some calls together. So we're still going to be indirectly benefited from that truck. Any other discussion? All in favor, show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimous. Okay, our lunch is here. We can go to lunch and then come back and do the county manager's report. 'Cause we do need to go back in closed session for just a few minutes. What's the pleasure of the board? You want to go ahead and adjourn for lunch and go in closed session and then come back and make our comments and the county manager's report, or that's up to the board?
I'm done.
Huh?
I said I'm hungry.
I move, Mr. Chairman, that we go ahead and go break for lunch, and then from lunch go into closed session for the purposes of
Consider employment of business in the county and consult the attorney-client privilege. And you can eat while you're in closed session. That's right.
Look at it.
we're going to do 2 things at one time.
Yeah.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I have a motion that we go into closed session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are out of closed session now. I think we've finished everything except our county manager's comments and then the commissioner's comments and committee reports. Mr. Wood.
Okay, I just have 2 things. First of all, I've given you a letter here, and of course, obviously, I'm very disappointed in this, but I can certainly understand her reasons for doing it. But this is a letter from Pam Holt announcing her retirement from the County of Wayne effective January 1, 2016. She will have her years in for full retirement, and she will have met the age requirement for that. So she's decided that she wants to do that. I did talk to her at length about it, tried to talk her out of it. I was not successful with that, and as y'all know, Pam thinks things through very carefully, so she thought about it before she talked with me. So unfortunately, she's going to retire, and so we need to make plans accordingly. And I'll be back with you shortly about some appointments there. The Second thing I wanted to talk to you about is, we have another letter. You'll get those in. Yes. Well, I thought I did. Marcia, you better give me that. This is a letter, I've been talking with the Nash County manager for some time now. They've shared some of our concerns about where East Point is going in terms of a merger. I think I reported to y'all earlier that in talking with the Division of Medicaid Assistance up at the state, that the position of the previous DHHS secretary was that they wanted East Point to merge with Trillium. And the reason is that where the state wants to get to is to have 4 regional agencies. And you know, they started out as LMEs, now they're LME/MCOs, which is Managed Care Organization. And essentially in talking with her is where they're trying to get to is ultimately these organizations will be in competition with private sector organizations for managed care, on the money for Medicaid services for mental health, substance abuse, and developmental disabilities, which is what the LMEs do, and that's what East Point does. So East Point has been in negotiations with different entities about what to do as far as merging. The state has already made it clear to them they prefer they go with Trillium. Trillium is a combination of 2 prior LMEs, and it now stretches from the Virginia border on the coast all the way down to the South Carolina border. And in some cases it goes 1 or 2 counties inland, and so that's Trillium. Now, this Cardinal Innovations Healthcare is out of Charlotte, and they have a large number of people in their network. The other one that East Point is looking at is Sandhills LME. And as I understand it right now, East Point looks like they're trying to go with Sandhills, even though the state has said they want them to go with Trillium. So Ken Jones has asked to have a meeting with me. I think he's doing that with all the county managers, and just to go over everything. So I'll be holding that meeting shortly. But I wanted to make you aware of that background. And then in talking with the manager in Nash, they went ahead and interviewed Trillium and some other people, including Cardinal, and they decided to go with Cardinal Innovations Healthcare. And I just wanted y'all to be aware of that. And Nash was in East Point. So we've lost one of the members there by going there. So these people have indicated they would like to meet with us. I think what I'd like to do, if y'all are in agreement, is let me meet with Ken Jones, see what he's saying about it, and then we may want to have these people come in and talk with us as well. But at some point, East Point's going to have to make a decision. East Point's board is going to have to make a decision on what to do on this, and they've got to get state approval on that. So I just want to make y'all aware of this letter that one of our sister counties has moved out of East Point over to these folks, and that at some point in the not too distant future we're going to have to deal with this issue. Obviously, John Bell needs to be involved because John is our representative on East Point.
Is that all you got today?
That's it.
Can I follow up with some questions here, because I'm confused. I hope I'm the only one that admitted I'm confused. I'm confused. Do we have an option of who we select to be our provider in Wayne County? So we had a selection of East Point, but we in fact could choose someone else?
Yes. Now, there's been a recent legislation introduced that was passed to kind of freeze that in place until the Secretary of DHHS can come up with regulations on it. And so Nash County moved quickly because they didn't want to be under that delay.
So those options are not available?
Well, they're going to be available, but there's going to be a delay because you're going to have to wait till the new regulations come out.
Well, I wasn't even aware that there was any options there. I mean, I thought that the state basically put us into a pile and said, Wayne County, you're going to be at East Point.
No, we've had different people, we've had different counties moving to different places.
That's what you were made to believe.
Well, I mean,
And we'll get all our money that we deserve, regardless. We'll get all of we're entitled to.
Yeah, as I understand it, because the Medicaid payments are PMPM, which is per member per month. So, in other words, and that's called a capitation rate because it's per capita, per member per month. So those people who qualify for Medicaid that need those services, they've been given a certain amount of money by the state. And then the other thing, in talking with her, I asked about, because when I addressed y'all on this issue about a year ago, I specifically asked Mr. Jones if we could use the fund balance. And his answer was no. Well, I talked to the lady who's over the state division of Medicaid assistance, who's over this program. And she said there had been differences of opinion on that, but that she's gotten a recent opinion from their attorney that you can in fact use that fund balance. And I have their audit, and as of right now, they have about $33 million of unassigned fund balance. So, at East Point. So, she says you can use it for things other than what it was restricted for in the current year. But once the year lapses, it goes into fund balance, it can be reappropriated for any of their services. And just so y'all understand, her opinion is from the Attorney General's office, because state agencies, every one of them is assigned assistant state attorney generals. So everybody that's giving legal advice to state agencies is actually an employee of the state attorney general's office. So there's consistency there.
So to clarify, if I could, Mr. Chairman, where those programs that East Point, I won't name names, but East Point is asking us to fund, we have asked them to fund, and they're saying they cannot use their reserve funds to do so, but the Attorney General's office
says you can.
That you can.
And I also confirmed that with the CEO at Trillium, and she said her interpretation is you can. I also asked the CEO at Sandhills, and her interpretation is that you can.
And am I not also of the understanding that the legislature now has cut back on that funding?
Yes.
As a result of these huge balances that they had in their fund balance?
That's correct. I believe they cut the Medicaid going to LMEs by about $100 million. So what they're trying to do is use down those fund balances. But to put it in perspective for you, the most recent audit I have from East Point is that, and that's where I've got the $33 million figure in unassigned fund balance. They took in less than $2.4 million from the 11 or 12 counties. So what they're asking you for funding amounts to less than $2.5 million, but they have a $33 million fund balance.
And George, and that 33 million is over and above what they're required to keep in a balance.
Yes.
That's completely separate.
Yeah, they actually have 50-something million dollars, but
That's
about
right.
$9 million.
I just want to make sure everybody understood that, because I've looked at the financials.
Yeah, but about $9 million of that is reserved by, for this Medicaid reserve fund, and another $7 million is reserved by state statute. Now, I may have those two numbers backwards, but it's 9 and 7 million.
We need to hire them as a fundraiser.
Well, and let me explain to you that in the past year, that fund balance went up by $18.5 million. So they underspent so in the year they were asking you for all the extra money, they underspent their budget by $18.5 million.
I don't understand how these agencies think that they can villainize us poor commissioners, and that's going to enhance their mission. And that's what they're doing. They're trying to villainize us for not funding areas that they should be funding.
And they can fund with that fund balance.
Okay. I better hush. My ears all red.
Well, I just wanted to give y'all an update on that. I will say that their board usually meets in Mount Olive at the college, the university, excuse me, and that 2 meetings ago, the Nash County manager and his assistant manager and Tommy Burns and I went to that meeting because they were going to talk about the merger. And when we got there, they went into executive sessions to talk about the merger, and the commissioner from Nash County specifically said, I want my manager in the meeting, and that was denied by the board. So we were not able to sit in on that meeting.
Go ahead and finish. You were not able to sit in on that meeting, and just as soon as they come out, they adjourned.
They adjourned.
So you sat down there for 2.5 hours for
Yeah,
nothing?
and we were
Okay.
not able to attend the meeting. So I don't know why he's coming now, because my first question is going to be, why are you so anxious to talk to me now when I was down there for 2.5 hours and you wouldn't let me listen to the meeting?
Now your ears are getting red.
Yes. They're going to get redder when we have the meeting. Anyway, that's pretty much where we're at, but I wanted to give y'all an update. So bottom line is, in the coming months, East Point will be coming to you and with some sort of recommendation on how to merge. But I just wanted to let you know, as of now, they've got a new DSS secretary, but unless they've changed their opinion, the position of the state right now is they don't want us to merge with Sandhills, they want us to merge with Trillium. But the executive director of East Point is trying to merge with Sandhills. And I'd love to tell you the reasons why, but I don't know why.
Might have something to do with who would be the new CEO.
Well, those 2 points are out there.
Okay.
Okay. Are you through, Mr.
Yes,
Lewis?
sir.
I'll hush.
All right. Mr. Pate, you got any comments? And let's try to keep it as brief as we can. I mean, we all are very busy, go to a lot of things, but we don't need to sit here and tell every single meeting we go to. We just tell everybody we're busy. And if there's something really important, though, we need to hear about it.
Well, I had some that were canceled, and others I had to miss because of a family illness, and so I really don't have anything to comment on today. Thank you.
Mr. Camardi.
I just have a couple. Of course, I went to my library meeting on Thursday. And I have a book that you guys want to hold it up. I went to the Wages 50th celebration, 50 years of celebration. I went to that Saturday afternoon at 6 p.m. and they honored Mr. Bryant, who had served for 42 years, and wages without me having to say a lot. All of y'all know what they do. But they had a wonderful celebration, very proud of themselves, and I was proud to be there with them. So there's a booklet that some of you might get hold to. Probably got plenty of them. You might want to look at that. Also, before that meeting, Saturday afternoon, I had the honor of representing the Board of Commissioners, and this was one of those represent the Board of Commissioners things also. This is with the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and they were celebrating their 50th. And the one thing that I want to mention about this organization and other organizations similar to this, these folk most of the time join while they're in college, but back home at home turf, they are always setting a good example before our youth. And that's one of the things that I said to them personally and privately, and I say publicly, is that there are many children in our community that need an opportunity to see more of the folk that's represented here. They come from all walks of life, education, business, medical fields, and all that. And so I'm real proud to have made that as part of my day. And I see that as a very integral part of what I was elected to do, is to meet with groups like this. One last thing that I want to make note of, and I know all of you all have a letter in your packet today, but I was contacted probably a week to 10 days ago by a lady, Ms. Ammons in Mount Olive. She had been over in Greene County and seen a sign that said Greene County is the home of East Carolina University.
Pitt County.
Thank you, ma'am. What did I say? Whatever I said, they corrected me, and it was what they said. So they saw that, I said Greene, didn't I? And I've been saying Greene, I meant Pitt.
She was probably in Greene when she saw the sign.
Well, that could have been. That could have been. Thank you, Mr. Acock. But she called me and expressed to me what a great idea she thought it was, and asked me how I think it could be put in you all's perspective. And I said, write a letter to our county manager, and then copy to all the commissioners, and they will see it. But the point of this is, and this letter comes from Dr. Kersetter, so she went back and did her homework and went to the university president. But they're simply asking that when the entrance signs to the county be put up, that there be some sort of indication that we have two fine post-high school education. And one of them is the University of Mount Olive, and they also reference Wayne Community College. I'm not trying to speak for them, but expressing that they knew that it was two post homegrown, maybe post high school education institutions here, and that their names might be added to such a sign. So that letter's in there for you all's consideration at some point.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, sir. That's it.
Mr. Gerb.
One thing, Mr. Chairman, Halloween is quickly approaching. I ask everyone to please exercise good judgment and please keep our kids safe. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
I just have one item. Had our county health board meeting, and we were presented the 2014 State of the County Health Report, and I just wanted to hit a few highlights here. In Wayne County, 23.4% of the county's residents, which is 28,283 people, lived in poverty in 2012. The state poverty rate at that time was 18%. 42.7% of the county's residents were low income on average from 2010 to 2012, meaning their incomes were less than twice the federal poverty level, $46,100 for a family of four in 2012. There are some highlights here, but one of the things without taking a lot of time, is that this is something that I hadn't thought about, probably didn't know about, but would you believe, and it was mentioned earlier today, would you believe that literacy affects a person's health, whether they can read and write? It's a known fact that people that can't read and write have more health issues, and a good example is that here in Wayne County is that more than half of the residents in Wayne County read below the 9th grade reading level. 1 in 4 adults reads below the 3rd grade level. 1 in 10 adults are functionally illiterate, meaning they cannot read. 1 in 6 adults possess minimal literacy skills, and 1 in 3 adults read between 3rd and 8th grade level. The thing about it is that literacy is something that all of us, it affects all of us every day. But having said that, I've had some of the best machinists that I've ever worked around over the last 40 years could not read. They could barely write their name. But they were able to look at a drawing, and they were able to see, they learned how to use a 12-inch scale, and they could read a scale like a carpenter, and they were able to learn how to read micrometers. What I'm saying is that I want to connect that to this, that coming up 1st of November, when we're having a National Apprenticeship Week, all this intertwines. You don't have to be a college graduate to go into a trade school and make good money. That's the point I'm trying to make. So we need to train people that in literacy skills, and also train people that are out there in our community colleges. So again, I want to remind the board, November 4th, 8:00 a.m. at Lane Tree, we're having a Wayne County event, having presenters to learn how to enroll and present and enforce the North Carolina Apprenticeship Program. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Doherty.
Two things. I want to remind everybody, I think everybody read in the paper, that we're 2/3 of the way there of opening up our bypass. Saturday, they did in fact open up the western section from 581 on into Wayne Memorial Drive. So that stretch is there. Now, that is designated as NC 44, and US 70 is still designated coming on through the existing bypass. June 2016, we'll have a big ribbon cutting out there. They did not want to have a ribbon cutting at this point until the entire section is open. And then I want to give a shout out to a fine fellow I've known over the last few years, and that's Jeremy Caden. Jeremy is leaving us. He is going to work for NC East, I think is Alliance. John Chafee has stolen one of our brightest, but Jeremy has worked hard. Many of you know Jeremy. We wish him the best, and we need to desperately work diligently to find a replacement to improve the marketing of Wayne County. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I'm not going to go over all of mine because my calendar's been full for the last 2 weeks. But one thing I do want to mention, though, is the Board of Education and Dr. Dunsmore has been having some community meetings with the parents and faculty at different high schools in the county, and I have been able to attend 2 of them. Charles B. Aycock, frankly, I was kind of disappointed in the turnout. Last night at Eastern Wayne was a different story. They had a cafeteria full, and I think that they're still moving in the right direction. And to my knowledge, this is the first time that they've had community meetings in a long, long time. They also had one at Rosewood I was not able to attend. But if anyone's watching that lives in the Spring Creek area, there is one tonight at Spring Creek High School. But I was encouraged last night at the turnout at Eastern Wayne. And one more thing, and we will have another meeting before this, but we've got the invitation for the Eastern Carolina State Veterans Cemetery. The ribbon cutting or ceremony will be November the 9th at 2:30 p.m. And I think Cindy has responded back for all of us, so that everyone that can go. I think that would be great. And other than that, that's about it for me. I mean, I've had a busy 2 weeks, but
and a full day.
And a full day every day. Do I have a motion we adjourn? I have a motion on the floor that we adjourn. All in favor say aye. Aye.
This has been a presentation by Wayne Goldsboro Television of the meeting of the Wayne County Board of Commissioners. Wayne County Commissioners meet the first and third Tuesday of each month in the Commissioners' Meeting Room on the 4th floor of the Wayne County Courthouse at 224 East Walnut Street in Goldsboro, North Carolina. For more information, the County of Wayne is online at www.waynegov.com. The mailing address is Post Office Box 227, Goldsboro, North Carolina 27533. Thank you for watching.